Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. Today's episode, we're talking about Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards, the trilogy, the rubber match, very likely the final chapter in this these two guys' rivalry. Everybody knows Usman won the first one. He won it with a landslide. Everybody knows Usman was winning the second one. He lost round one, but then after one round two, one round three, was winning one round four, was winning round five until about 60 seconds left. We all saw it. We saw the kick across the chin. And they put him out. I'm going to give you guys my pick right away off the bat. But first, before I do that, I want you guys in the chat to let me know who you think is going to win. Put their name, because last time I gave you guys my whole spiel and then everybody kind of picked the same guy I picked. Tell me who you think is going to win. Give me the initials or the name of the fighter you think is going to win. And I will tell you after that, after I take a small little poll in the chat room, I will tell you who I think is going to win right afterwards. Leon, Usman. Leon. Oh, top three coaches in the game. Leon, Kamaru, Usman, Edwards. Guys, it's pretty 50-50. It's pretty 50-50. Look at this. Usman, Edwards. Pretty tight. Pretty Usman. Create a poll, coach. I don't know how to create a poll. Is there a way for me to create a poll? Let's see here. Live chat, top chat. Oh, look at that. I didn't know that. Pop-up chat. Participants, toggle. I don't know how to create a poll, guys. You know me. I'm not a button pusher. I'm a head squeezer. I don't push buttons. Okay, guys, let me tell you who I think is going to win, and then I'm going to tell you why. Okay, I'm going to try to convince you guys to side with me. I have a major doubt in this fight. Okay, major doubt. Here's my major doubt. Sometimes guys get knocked out so bad, they're never the same again. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. I've seen countless guys ruin their career with getting one really bad knockout, and I'm scared that that was the one that cooked Usman. I don't know. Guys, Usman's known for his chin. Like he has so many great things about him. But one thing, I'll tell you guys something. He gets hit. He gets hit hard, keeps coming forward. He gets hit hard, keeps coming forward. The guy is a bit of a Korean zombie, a little bit. Okay, he's got other skills. He's got great skills. He's got fantastic abilities, no doubt. However, he's also got a touch of the Korean zombie. He gets hit, keeps coming forward. Gets hit, brushes it off. However, that head kick, no man brushes that off. Now, if Usman's chin is not the same as it used to be, he won't be able to do what he usually does. I know I'm sounding like I'm not picking Usman. I am, in fact, picking Usman. Oh, what I'm trying to say is I have a major doubt. I'm giving this fight 55-45 Usman, and I'm telling you why I didn't give it more. Because I'm really worried that maybe it's very possible Usman's chin is not going to hold up like it has in the past. And Kobe Covington fight, it held up well. Even though he got stumbled here and there, he kept trucking forward. He needs to truck forward to press Leon Edwards against the fence, take him down, and punish him on the ground. He does that well. He lands big shots too. He's a busy puncher, Usman, but he gets hit. He gets hit hard. His whole thing is that even when you hit him hard, and he does get hit hard, he gets hit hard. In his tough fights, he gets hit hard. He can take it. Guys, use level up 50 off to get anything 50% off on jujiclub.com. I just released Speed Drills Volume 1. It's guard passing drills. Develop your muscle memory for guard passing. It's a very special video. It will skyrocket your guard passing. It's going to teach you guard passing drills, speed drills, guys, to develop speed. It's not a detailed guard passing video. It's a question about doing fast drills for high reps. It's going to build that muscle memory. It's a very important part of guard passing, guys. Get it. You will love it. Like I was saying, Usman, he trucks forward. He takes shots. He puts people down on the mat. Is his chin gone? We're going to find out. We're going to find out this Saturday. He's going to get hit. Leon Edwards will strike, will land strikes. If his chin holds up, guys, I'm calling it. If you can guarantee me he had his old chin, I would call it 65-35 in Usman's favor. Okay? But because I question his chin, I'm worried about his chin. And guys, I've seen guys get knocked out really bad and come back better than ever. Better than ever. But I've also seen guys get knocked out and they never were the same again. There's lots more to say about this fight. When they fought the second time, it was at elevation. Leon Edwards said he went there 2 weeks before. 2 weeks before is not enough for a 5-round fight. Showing up 2 weeks before to train is really training only 1 week, because there's 1 week of cutting weight and there's 1 week of actual training. The week of the fight, you're cutting weight. You're not really training much. You can't really acclimate. You're not really training in these conditions that you're going to be fighting in. I felt that the elevation got to him because after round 2, he looked winded. He usually is in phenomenal shape. I'm expecting this fight to be harder than it was in the second matchup. Leon Edwards, I think, he's in his hometown. He won't be affected by the elevation like he was in the second fight. In the second fight, I truly believe elevation had a lot to do with it. He's usually more explosive. He usually doesn't back up that much. He has strong, powerful elbows. He didn't throw. He was exhausted. He looked exhausted in between rounds. I've trained that elevation. I can tell you it's a real thing. It's not mental. It's physical. I heard he slept in a tent, elevation tent. Those things, in my opinion, don't work. 10, 15 years ago, they were super popular. Nobody uses them anymore. I know fighters who use them religiously at a point. It never really helped their cardio. I'm not a big believer in the elevation. I know people are going to throw papers at me. I don't believe it. I think there's contradictory papers and all those studies. It was those companies making the studies in the background. They wanted to get the results they wanted to because they built a market. I'm not a big believer in those elevation tents. I'm really not a big believer. I don't feel there's any convincing evidence that they actually truly work. They were really hot 10 years ago. Why aren't they hot anymore? Because they don't work. If they work, they'd still be hot. Kettlebells popped around 20 years ago. They're still here. Sandbag training still here. Aerodyne machine still here. Row machine still here. Elevation tents, I don't even know a single soul who has one anymore, okay? So I don't think it helped. I think he thought maybe it's going to help. It didn't help. In my opinion, that was a major factor in his performance. I think he's going to do better this time around, but I still think Usman can truck forward and press him up against the fence, back him up, outwork him. Usman is a busy man in the fight. He's a busy man. He's kicking, he's punching, he's hitting the body, he's taking people down, he's ground and pounding. He's a busy guy. He's busier than Leon Edwards, in my opinion. However, guys, I got to tell you, that knockout, I just watched it again before doing this. That was a devastating knockout. Psychologically, physically, it can be incredibly taxing. I think Usman has everything to win. Not an easy fight, but I highly question. I'm scared for his chin. Guys, give me your thoughts and comments on this fight, and I'll be answering you guys right back. Hey, Coach, what about Cedric Doumbé, the French kickboxer? Well, Alak, I'm only doing questions on this fight, but I'm going to answer you one. I'm going to let one slide, okay? I think he's great. I'm a big fan of his fights. I watch him all the time. I know he's doing MMA now. It's going to be really exciting. I had heard he had signed the UFC. Then they pulled him out. I think they wouldn't license him. I think France wouldn't license him, so he went back into MMA in the smaller leagues to get a few fights. I'm sure UFC is going to pick him up. This guy's an incredible talent. Don't be surprised if he makes noise in UFC. Usman susceptible to body kicks. Leon and Kobe kicked with toes into the belt line, and both times Usman claimed a groin shot. That's right. There was a controversial groin shot in both fights. Leon Edwards kicked him slightly above the belt. It was kind of above the gray area, and Usman stopped, and everybody's like, hey, he's weak there. This is what our boy here is saying. After that, he backed up for the first time, helped set up a headshot. Look, sometimes you get hit right in that gray area, and you feel your mind thinks you got a groin shot, because don't forget, groin shots, there's a delay sometimes in pain. I've been hit in the groin, unfortunately, it's true. I can tell you, sometimes you get hit in the groin, you're like, wait a second, did I get hit in the groin? And then the surge of pain just kicks in. I don't know why there's a delay. I don't know why. But sometimes there's a delay. So sometimes you get hit, you're like, oh man, he hit me. And then all of a sudden you reacted, but the pain is not really there. It's psychological, guys. It's psychological. You know how the groin area is very psychological. It's very. If there's a threat of pain, we're going to react. I don't care how tough you are. If there's a threat of pain there in that area, you're going to freak out. So I think that's what it is. Maybe he has just got a bad memory of getting kicked in the groin once upon a time in his career. So now every time somebody goes, I remember when George fought Matt Hughes the second time, he kicked him in the leg and Hughes claimed the groin shot. It can happen. I believe it can be. I think guys fake, and I think it can also just trigger a reflex. Okay, guys, what else we got here? His chin is gone. His knees are gone. That's from Clown Fighter. Hold on a second here. Hold on, guys. Give me one moment here. Let's see if I can. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, I'm back. I hope Leon doesn't become Kamaru's Matsara. That's from Sniff. Well, is he a flash in the pan? Did he just win one big? Was it a lucky kick? Look, if he gets dominated, it's going to be remembered as a lucky kick. Okay, I hate to say it, but it's going to be remembered as a lucky kick. If the fight is competitive and it's a seesaw battle, it won't be. But if he gets dominated, crushed, people are going to remember him as a guy who threw a lucky kick. Kobe had zero power and he rocked Usman. Wouldn't say his chin is spectacular. That's from Seamus. Well, Usman, Kobe's super busy. He throws a lot of volume. Guys, who's hurt Usman? Who? Just Leon Edwards knocked him out. He got stunned by Kobe. Kobe throws a lot. Look, that fight was really busy. It was a trench war. They were going at an incredible pace. He just got hit in the button. I really trust Usman's chin. Best coach in the game, Us. I'll be up in Montreal soon. For Zahabi, take care. That's from Nicholas Richmond. Guys, make sure to check out the dorms. We have a TriStar Dorms is back open again in full effect. Check out the link in the description if you want to email TriStar Dorms, tsdorms@gmail.com. I was supposed to put up the address. I totally forgot. Thank you for that reminder. And come train with me, guys. Stay at the dorms and come train with me at the TriStar Gym. Best coach in the game. Usman will catch the kick easily. That's from Seamus. Well, if Leon, throws a lot of quick kicks. He's very good with the teep. He push kicked Usman early, and Usman didn't shoot on the kick. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I totally understand. You're right. If he does kick too much, if Usman kicks, if Leon Edwards kicks too much, he's gonna get his leg caught and taken down. Leon should look for a heavy body kick since Usman will surely be keeping his hands up defending the head kick. That's from A. That's a good point. You kick to the head, and then you go down to the body, the breadbasket. You can crush a man's ribs. Sea level London. That's from Seamus. That's a very good point. The last one was at altitude, guys. I think that made a major, major difference. I think that made a massive difference. People don't know. People forget about that. It was done at altitude. Guys, don't forget the TS dorms. I'm supposed to put up I promised the guys at the dorms I would put up the email. There it is, TS dorms. It's at the bottom of your screen, tsdorms@gmail.com. Guys, write them an email. Let them know when you want to stay. The dorm is near capacity, so if you want to get a spot, check it out and train at the TriStar Gym. Your next training camp, make it at the TriStar Gym. That's true for us. Expected Kamaru did the same to him in the first fight. That's from Mahad. Yeah, the first fight was very similar to about 80% of their second fight. Usman's just an athletic beast, man. He's a monster. He punches hard. He punches often. You always have that takedown threat in your face. If you make a mistake throwing too hard at him, he takes you down. He's no picnic to be under. Every time he brought Leon down, I think Leon got up once, really. And one time he came up using defense, and Herb Dean did the right thing, put him right back down. I think he might have escaped to his feet twice, actually, in the fight. And the second time, or actually in the later fifth round, obviously he KO'd him, but I don't think he got taken down that round. I can't remember. I don't remember if he had gotten up off his feet in the fifth. Will Kamaru gas out this time? That's from the loose joint. No, I don't think so. I don't think Kamaru will get tired at all. Kamaru has done 5 rounds over and over again throughout his entire career.
Coach, do you let white belts train at 12:00 class?
Guys, did you hear that? Or was it just me? Yes, I let white belts train at 12 o'clock class. Absolutely. Okay, let's see. What is super chat? Okay, here we go. Do you think oblique kicks and side kicks to the knees will end the fight? It can make a major difference in the fight. I can't think of one fight I've seen somebody get knocked out with an oblique kick. I'm thinking about it, and I can't think of one. But I know people get really messed up bad. Like I can remember Whitaker did it to Romero in the second fight, and it made a huge difference. Romero did it to him in the first fight. Till did it to Wonderboy in their fight. It made a big difference. So, yes. Yes, we heard it. Okay, good. I'm going to be using text to speech now. It's going to be better because I have a hard time seeing these words because I'm super blind. I don't have my glasses on. Gilbert Burns knocked down Usman with a jab. That's true. He did knock him down with a jab. That's a very good point. I forgot about that. That was actually an excellent. No, Usman knocked him down with a jab. Excuse me. Burns knocked him down with the overhand right. He clipped him with the overhand right. He had hurt Usman round one. Then later on got dropped. Burns got dropped by a jab. Okay, let's see here. I know I can get like different voices. Let me see what I get here.
Do you think a guy with great striking like Leon can only train takedown defense from wrestling and still be one of the greats at the division?
Yeah, lots of guys get away with just learning wrestling. Lots of guys do that. There's not many. I mean, think about the Diaz brothers. When you've seen them do a takedown, but yet they fought for titles. Diaz fought Condit. Condit won a world title. I mean, there's lots of guys. Jose Aldo never really shoots takedowns. I can't even think of one takedown he ever shot. Just defensive takedowns. It is possible. You have to be a very talented individual, but definitely is possible. Okay, what else we got here, guys? It seems like... do you think Usman is... here's a very good point. Mark D. Do you think Usman is fighting too early after the devastating knockout? It's been about 7 months. Yes. But a guy like Usman with that much experience can pull it off. I think he should have took a year. He should have took a whole year. Just let your body rest. Come back to just light training. Don't go back into a hard training camp, getting hit. These things are cumulative. I have a doubt, guys. It's very possible he comes back and he's better than ever. I've seen it also, but it's just such a big doubt in my mind. Usman's susceptible to body kicks. Leon and Kobe kicked with toes into the... Oh, we did this one. We did that one. Okay. Guys, I know it's super late. I had no other time in the day, and I had to get this done. I was supposed to do actually a watch party for this one, but I have a fighter booked, so I have to travel, and I won't be able to do a watch party. But I will be 99% sure doing a watch party for Pereira versus Adesanya, the 4th match. Can you believe it? They fought 4 times. Alexander Pereira winning 3 times thus far. I'm going to do a pre-fight analysis, I'm sure. And I can't wait to watch that fight. Watch party, guys. We're going to have a blast on that night. Leon will touch Usman's chin, and who knows how he will react. Just another genius. You are, in fact, a genius. You're correct. This is the big fear. Does Leon Edwards have better BJJ than Usman? That's from ABC0. Look, in round 1, he took Usman down, surprised everybody, and I think Usman as well. I think Leon was also surprised. Not only did he take him down, he mounted him, then did a very, very slick back take, and then applied a choke, missed, got ripped, got his hands broken up, and just Usman's such a beast, man. He couldn't choke Usman. And I think Usman was super relaxed. Then he got up. He was like, you could tell on Usman's face he wasn't impressed. He's like, I'm going to get him the next round. And he did. Usman is more physical. He's bigger. He's stronger. Calories, and the amount of output he generates is higher. But this time it won't be at elevation. Okay, guys, I don't want to beat a dead horse. Let's open it up to absolutely anything. I'm not going to keep it up super late tonight because it's already 11 o'clock where I am. Ask me about any fight, training, fitness, whatever it is. What do you think about Gaethje versus Fazayev? That's from George Kuntorusis. I like Fazayev. Guys, I'm a big Fazayev fan. I like Gaethje. I love Gaethje. He's a super exciting fighter. No doubt they're going to have an incredible war. But in my opinion, at the end of the day, here's one important question I have. Gaethje has an incredibly powerful low kick. Is he going to be able to torch the Muay Thai master Fazayev's leg? He has an abnormally powerful low kick, Gaethje. Fazayev's seen world-class leg kickers. But there's something special about Gaethje's leg kicking. He backs it up with powerful knockout punching. Powerful. Very powerful. I think it's going to be super interesting. Now, is Gaethje going to shoot? Hell no. Is Fazayev going to shoot? Hell no. It's going to be an all-out war. If anything happens on the ground, it's because they stumbled, they tripped. Look, Fazayev might do a Muay Thai throw and just land on him and keep finishing him if he's got him hurt. A Muay Thai trip, I should say. But this is going to be contested. It's going to be won or lost on the feet. Both guys are super hard hitters. I think Fazayev's going to have the edge. Why? Body kicks, leg kicks, knees, elbows. He has a more well-rounded game, where Gaethje's mainly a puncher and a very powerful low kick. Now, if I had to give it, I would probably give it 55-45 Fazayev. This is not going to be an easy fight. No, Gaethje's never an easy fight for anybody. Coach, can I get jumped if I come and train with you guys? That's from Shortsy. Yes, that's a very real possibility. Be careful what colors you wear. Be careful you're not wearing red or blue. I have Bloods and Crips training in the same session. Coach, how do you feel if your kids asked you if they could fight? That's from Widrink. Well, it all depends. If they're super serious about it, I would accept it. But if they were not serious, if they were just kind of training half-assed, I would tell them not to do it. Dre Foreman, my man, do you think you'll sustain your ego in paradise? Do you think you'll sustain your ego in paradise? Wow, what a question. The afterlife? I think you'll have remnants of who you are, but you'll be kind of transformed. Your essence will be the same, but not the way you think today, not your daily experiences. You're going to have forgotten so much about every bad dream, every bad experience you had. It's going to be a distant memory. You won't recall it. However, your essence will remain the same. How do you increase BJJ stand-up cardio? That's from Michael Casas. How do you increase BJJ stand-up cardio? BJJ stand-up, so like judo and wrestling. Lots of wrestling and judo, and supplement it with good physical conditioning. I like kettlebell for grapplers, guys. I really like it. Why? Because it strengthens your grip, your back, your legs, your cardiovascular system. You hit more birds with one stone. And of course, aerodyne machine, running, all that stuff is good. All of it. What else we got here? Thoughts on Dostoevsky's brother Karamazov. I'm not a big reader of Dostoevsky. Coach, I train jiu-jitsu 2 days a week, but I get incredibly drained after each session. I need like 12 hours of sleep. I'm fatigued for 2 days after. What might be missing? That's from Young Bajas. Young, how long have you been training? It's not normal. It's really not normal. Look, you're training too intensely. If you need 12 hours of sleep and you're drained, let's say you're doing 4 rounds, okay, of grappling. Do 2. Or do 1 round, skip a round, and jump back in. Try to lower your volume. See how you feel the next day. Guys, when you train, I wake up every morning. I'm never sore, guys. It's rare, okay? It's rare. Sometimes I do something weird in the gym. I do a weird free, and I'll be sore the next day. But it's very rare I'm sore. Very, very rare. Why? You build up a tolerance. You shouldn't be feeling wiped and drained. Why? Because now you're not working with a margin of safety. You're flirting with injury. If you're that wiped for 12 hours and the next day you're not feeling well, you're training way too hard. Give your body a small dose. Let it adapt. Give it a small dose. Guys, if you plant a seed, you can't water it and put it under a lamp with extra. You can't add extra lamp. It won't make it grow any faster. If you're training naturally, we should talk about that. I heard 5 guys in IBJJF got busted. 5. I told you guys when Liver King got busted. I told you guys it's even worse in BJJ. They interviewed more plates, more dates interviewed me. I'm like, come on. It's even worse in BJJ. There's tons of guys on steroids in BJJ. It's out of control. Now I heard they did like testing the same day and people were running away. They didn't want to take pictures on the podium and they even got caught like a month later. Insanity. BJJ has become insane with the steroids, guys. The world has become insane. Am I the last guy who doesn't take steroids? Am I the last man? Am I the last man on earth doesn't take steroids? Our YouTube, $10. Thank you very much. You're a gentleman and a scholar. No question. Just throwing money. Thank you. Arjamampur, MYR, $1.90. You're not gonna get a gentleman and a scholar for $1.90. Come on, man. Okay, it's his first super chat. Okay, fine. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you. Appreciate it. Coach, please give your prediction about Beneil versus Charles. Who wins in May? And if Makachev versus Beneil, Charles 2, who wins? Okay, I'll pick Makachev and I'm picking Dariush. Dariush is going to beat, in my opinion, he's going to beat Charles Oliveira. Dana White said he will put Makachev in Abu Dhabi card in October. I would love to see a rematch with Volk. I think, in my opinion, that's what should happen. What are your thoughts on the effects of pornography? That's on Matro. Let me tell you something. The studies are not good. The studies show the generation that grew up with pornography suffer from impotence. Guys, don't ask me how I know this. My biggest fear in life is that one day I'm impotent. Like I tell my wife, I swear to you, I tell my wife this. I said to her, look, if ever I'm impotent, take me to a nice place, nice restaurant, get me a nice meal, cook me my favorite foods. Let me eat. Let me be in my ignorance. Don't let me see it coming. As I'm eating, as I'm finishing my dessert, bam, shoot me in the back of the head. I tell her that all the time. The day I'm impotent, don't let me see it coming. Build me a nice meal like you always do. Say how much you appreciate me. Just like butter me up so good. Make it the best meal. Make it the best evening. And then when I'm not looking, walk up behind me and bam. That's what I ask her to do. I swear to you. I tell my wife this all the time. Why? How can I explain? I shouldn't have to explain why. Guys, you should know everything about how the plumbing downstairs has to stay pristine, healthy. Like you take care of your health. Keep your plumbing pristine. Okay, now I tell my kids, because my kids are at that age now where they're interested in women and the internet. You can't police the internet. I tell my kids, and I tell every father and mother out there listening, because I know 99% of my audience is males, men. So I'm telling you fathers out there, make sure that your kids that are on the internet, and I tell you all this, you can either have pleasure now or later. This is what I tell my kids. You can have pleasure now, which is going to be a small amount of pleasure. You think it's big. It's nothing. It's nothing. Or you can have pleasure later. Why? Studies show that people who grew up watching internet are impotent in their young adulthood. They have trouble downstairs. Why? It's purely psychological. Think about it. You've been overly stimulated. You've seen all sorts of weird, wacky stuff. And then you have this normal girl in your room and you're trying to undress her and she's not like, okay, she's a beautiful girl, but it's not enough stimulus. It's not enough stimulus. Now they can't explain to you why. They're theorizing, they're speculating on why. This guy has a digital obsession now. He needs to change the channel. You know, they listen, guys, everything you do on the internet, they're following you, they're studying you. Guys, you must read 1 Billion Wicked Thoughts, a phenomenal book written by two neuroscientists. Every sick thing you guys type into Google, they're studying you. Every sick video you watch, they're monitoring you. They know how long you look at it. They know every single. Don't think your history is going to erase. You can push erase on your history. Don't worry. They still know. They still know what filthy, disgusting, every disgusting thing in your mind. They're studying you like you're a creature. And then I read those books. I'm interested. I want to see what is inside the human mind. And I'll tell you something. They think, look, this guy has to keep clicking. Click, 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 click. Why? They say, look, they explain it evolutionarily, of course. They say, look, to them, men are attracted to women who have not been fertilized. This is not me talking, guys. This is an evolutionary biologist. They're like, look, if she's been fertilized, I don't want her. Why do girls wear tank tops? They say, oh, because the girls are showing you that they haven't been fertilized. Look, I don't have any stretch marks. Look at my... Because, you know, after a woman has baby, her stomach gets a little warped for a while. And sometimes for life. Look, I haven't been fertilized. I haven't been warped. I don't have stretch marks. It stimulates the male mind, fires a sequence of events that triggers your mojo, and you want to pounce. Now that girl has a power over you. Oh, you want something from me? Well, what are you willing to offer me? This is the dynamic. Okay, guys, this is not Coach Zahabi talking here. This is what we learn in psychology and evolutionary biologists. They tell us, how do we explain this non-stop clicking? They don't stop clicking. They don't even watch the whole scene. They just keep clicking, click, 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 click. Because they say that the ultimate, in your mind, in your sick mind, you're spreading your DNA everywhere. Look how I'm Genghis Khan. I'm Genghis Khan. You know Genghis Khan? I'm Genghis Khan. I'm spreading my DNA everywhere. It's everywhere. Look at this. That's what your biology is doing to you. You're getting a dopamine rush because in your mind you think you're spreading your DNA. It's a digital fantasy. Then when you go out in the real world, you come out of the matrix. What? You want me to just fertilize? We don't know. Nobody knows 100% why, but this is what they theorize. So I tell my kids this. I tell them, look, you can punish yourself now. You can regret this later. You can have pleasure later, intense pleasure, or you can have minimal pleasure now. What's better? Long-term thinking. That's what you should teach your children. Long-term thinking. What's healthier for me? What's better for me? I swear to you, I know somebody who, in a young adulthood, I know when I was growing up with him, he used to tell me all the time he used to watch this, and his parents didn't care. He used to have access. I was a young kid. I didn't have access. It was very rare we saw anything when I was a young kid. But he had lots of, and he would brag about it in school, talk about it on the butt. I know this person very, very well. And later in his very young adulthood, had the exact same problems that I mentioned to you earlier. Struggle with it his entire life, actually, till this day. You can have pleasure now, or you can have pleasure later. That's what I teach my kids. Bilal B, you are a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you for that donation. Coach, see, I can't see this one. It's written in orange. I can't see it. Let me get speech.
Coach, thanks for the training Saturday. My first time in Montreal. Amazing gym. Great open guard passing drills. Any instructional recommendations for setting trap setups for submissions?
Derek, man, thank you. You're very generous for the $20. That's very nice of you. I'm happy you came to the gym. Super happy to have you, man. I just released speed drills, the same drills we did in class, the speed drills back and forth, cutting back and forth. You guys, you're going to love this video. Get it. If you're an instructor, get it. Do those classes. My students absolutely love it. Forget shrimping up and down the mat. That's the worst damn warm-up in history. I don't know what you guys are thinking. Use speed drills to warm up your students. I do detailed passing. I do detailed sweeps. And then I do speed drills. I like my students to do speed drills. It's the best way to develop muscle memory. It's like getting them. The fastest way to get somebody good is teach them speed drills. That's my opinion. You guys are absolutely going to love it. That's volume 1. I'm planning to do 10 volumes, maybe 5. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I'm going to do speed drills for wrestling. I'm going to do the speed drills. Get that. You're going to absolutely love it. Coach, hold on. It skipped. What happened there? Uh-oh. Okay. Coach, how do you get out of a rut? 30 years, jacked, worked full-time and studied. Weed/alcohol and depression keep me closed in my own loop. Any tips? Man, you guys got to work on your grammar. It kills me to read these. Pose up is, my brother. Coach, how do you get out of a rut? 30 years old, jacked, work full-time and study, but weed, alcohol, okay, I see, weed, alcohol, and depression keep me closed in my own loop. Any tips? Okay, let me tell you something, okay, guys? You know, I've never had bacon in my life. Let me tell you guys something. I don't have a thirst for bacon. Like, when I see people eating bacon, I don't even associate it as food. Like, for me, bacon, when I look at bacon, it's like I'm looking at this. It's not food. When I look at it, I'm like, I don't want to eat it. When I see bacon, I don't want to eat it. When I see alcohol, I don't want to drink it. When I see weed, I don't want to smoke it. I think the worst thing anybody ever, you know what I wish? I wish my parents never let me eat sugar. I wish my parents told me no processed foods for you. It's mamnua. I wish they did me that favor. And I wish I did it for my kids. By the time I wisened up, it was too late. My kids, I let them eat sugar. I let them have McDonald's. Now it's in their DNA. Just like I never ate bacon, never had these other vices, I really wish my parents were white. My grandkids are not going to eat sugar. They're not going to eat processed foods. They're only going to eat natural foods. I wish I wasn't cursed with having tasted refined sugar. I wish I was as oblivious to me as bacon. Why? It's a drug. It gets us pulled in. I understand totally. Like I take care of my diet, but I always crave sugar. I always see sugary things. Guys, I have a sweet tooth. I'm a carb freak. I love carbohydrates. But I stay away from them. Yes, I eat the highest nutritious foods. I stay healthy. I want to stay trim. But I still, because I ate so much junk when I was growing up, When I see it, I do associate with food. And I like to eat those cookies I ate when I was a kid. I like to eat all those weird things, little treats, because they make me reminisce of a fun time when we went to the movies and we brought in treats. And I love all these junk foods. I love eating, me guys. I love food. I absolutely love food. Like, to sit down and have a meal is one of the great joys for me. How do you get out of a rut? Well, let me tell you something. If you're really serious, you got to turn your you want to come out of a rut, to your, I have to come out of a rut. I want to come out of a rut has to transform into, I have to come out of my rut. I have to. You got to make yourself have to come out of your rut. Now, this is an extreme level of thinking. You're going to think I'm nonsensical, but really, this is how success is born. If you want to come out of your rut, you got to find a way that you have to come out of your rut. You have to. It's not a question of want to. I have to. I'm scared to kind of tell people about this because people are going to think I'm a little crazy. But I will give myself a consequence. I will make it a major consequence for me if I don't make it. Like, I'll give a stack of money to my wife and I'll be like, look, if I don't reach this goal by this time, it's yours. There's no way I'm going to part with that stack of cash. And now my wife's like, sure. Oh, that's great. I turn my want to sometimes into have tos, and you light a fire under yourself. You put yourself, as we call, on death ground. If you don't do it, you're dead. Okay, I hate to talk that way, but obviously not literally dead, guys. Don't be dumb out there, please. I'm talking about give yourself a consequence. You're gonna jump out of bed. You're gonna jump out of bed as that deadline comes in. That motivation, that spike inside you, that those hormones are gonna pump in your system. And that's how you trick the body. That's one way to trick the body. Guys, don't forget, it's all about tricking the body. I have a new book coming out. I'm hoping to release it next week, hopefully. And I talk about how you trick your mind. When you have a craving, this is how you trick the mind right back. How should I balance school, gym, and work? That's from Dark T. You got to schedule your time. You got to make blocks of time. Guys, time management, it has so much to do with success. Time management has so much to do with success. Sit down and map out how much time are you giving to training? How much time are you giving to school? Don't just willy-nilly it. Oh, I'll study at lunch and I don't know if I'm going to study an hour or two. No. Everything has to be in blocks. I know when I'm training. I know when I'm studying. I know when I'm going to work. I would tell you this, work as little as you can. If you're going to school and you're in the gym, don't trade your dollars for hours. Don't trade your hours for dollars. Work the minimum you can to get by. Focus on school and work. When school is done, amplify your income with work, etc. When you guys have a job, only do a job you think you're going to get into later on. If you're working in a restaurant, it's because you're thinking one day you're going to open up a restaurant. Like my son got a job as a busboy. I tell him, look around. Don't just be a busboy. Look around. How does it work? Why do they need busboys? What do the waiters do exactly? How do they operate? Who makes what tip? How do the cooks take orders? What if the waiter makes a mistake? How do they correct it? Which waiter is more successful than the other? Notice these things. How does this business work? Tomorrow, imagine he spends 2-3 years as a busboy. And tomorrow he falls on an opportunity, maybe to start in a business or to get into the restaurant business or to invest in a restaurant. He'll already have the know-how. Never do a job just aimlessly. Schedule your time. Make sure you have blocks of time. You know how much you're studying. You know how much you're training. You know how much you're working. Work should be a backseat now. If you're at the level where you're learning, you're going to school, you got to live poor. Guys, I used to live very poor when I was a student. Very, very poor. Okay, guys, slow down, please, on the super chats. I can't keep up here. Does training predominantly in boxing have diminishing returns as a martial artist? My coach is a former world WBO world champion, Joey Gamachi. Thus far, it has improved my Muay Thai dramatically. That's from Tate Winson. Look, boxing, the great thing about boxing is it's kind of simple. You have 7 punches, and then you can mix and match them in an infinite amount of ways. However, it's not as exciting to go and do your 1 millionth boxing workout, okay? I like sparring. That's what keeps it exciting for me. So me, when I spar different people, I feel like I can kind of reinvent myself. But it's not like wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Wrestling and jiu-jitsu, like you learn this little detail and it makes such a big difference. We have that too in striking, of course, but the thing is, it's much harder to make new ground in striking. Why? Because boxing's been around forever. Jiu-jitsu is really new. There's new positions. There's always jiu-jitsu is growing before our eyes, and it's kind of amazing. So it's kind of like, it sucks if you're missing out, because boxing has peaked. It's refined. Yes, there's always room for more improvement, but it's very minimal. Jiu-jitsu is morphing, evolving before our eyes. It's amazing. Every year, I learn some new positions. I learn things. I do jiu-jitsu like 4 hours a day, even more. And I still learn new things. It's fascinating. Now, eventually, it's going to refine, and old moves we used to do now are outdated. But it's growing before our eyes. Like, don't miss out on that jiu-jitsu evolution. It's pretty amazing. What are your thoughts on polygamy? That's from Deng Deng. Listen, LGBTQP. Add a P. Why in Canada I'm not allowed to have a second wife? Why? I'll go to jail. But everybody else can do what they want. It's a whole party. Everybody's got their rights. And us polygamists, no, not you guys. You guys out there in the corner. No. You guys don't get to have a second wife. Why not? You can have a mistress. You could be married and have a girlfriend. Nothing illegal there. However, you guys who want to marry another woman, you have 2 wives? No. Why can't we have... Look, you guys want to give everybody a letter? You guys want... Somebody make me a shirt, send it to me with a giant P. So I'll wear it on this channel. A giant P. Just a giant P. And maybe a guy holding the hands of 2 women. Look, my honest answer not to your question. I know you asked, maybe it was a serious question. Maybe you're just kind of poking. Look, polygamy is needed. Why? Imagine, picture this, okay? Imagine you have a civilization with 100 couples. Let's keep the numbers easy. There's 100 couples. They're a little village. They go to war with another village. There's a dispute over some kind of natural resource. The men go to war. 50% of them die. 50 men die. The men come back. The dispute is settled. Or maybe there's an intergenerational war. Maybe they're going to fight again 20 years from now. Who knows? They come back. The 50 men go back to their 50 wives. Now you have 50 single women. What do you do with them? Well, they're slowly going to become somebody's mistress, or they can't sustain their household. They have kids. They can't work. Back then, especially, you don't have government funding. You don't have government programs to send money to these single mothers. Guys, don't forget, single motherhood is a $1 billion industry. It's $1 billion. It costs billions in taxes. Billions. Don't make me Google it right now. I don't want to get the exact number. It's a big number. Women throughout history needed a man to go out and provide, while the man needed the woman to stay home and take care of those babies. Don't forget, people used to have 10, 15 kids. It was very normal. It's more than a full-time job. Guys, the woman is more important than the man. She's doing a much more important job than him. So what do? That woman now, she has 7, 8 babies. Her husband died in the war. What do you do with her? Who's going to provide while she's taking care of these kids? That's why polygamy throughout history has been very useful for civilizations to thrive and shine. Even Christian communities in Africa practice polygamy. People don't know this. And the church gives them a special right because they know that the civilization can collapse. Because they have wars, men die, there's too many women to men. Okay, we're going to allow polygamy, even though it's mamnua, it's forbidden in the Christian gospel. Okay, it's actually not written straight, but they banned it. Even in the Jewish text, you're allowed polygamy. Absolutely. About 150 years ago, a little less, one rabbi made it forbidden. He said, stop, no more polygamy. Maybe tomorrow, if they have a issue with too many women, and let's say there's a catastrophe or something horrible happens, and a lot of men die off, they might bring it back. Because don't forget, don't. It's in the Bible, guys. Solomon had thousands of wives, concubines. Many prophets in the Bible, they had it too. That's why I always ask around. I'm like, guys, what happened? What happened? Like, I'm reading I study these texts. And I'm like, it's all over the place. they had multiple wives. What happened? What happened? Who? I'm like, I theorized because I looked it up and I couldn't find a good answer. Maybe there was a gay king who was like, you know what, enough of all this. I don't want to have 8 wives. I don't want to have all these. No. We're going to make it one-on-one. That way it was just easier for him to hide his homosexuality, maybe. I don't know. I'm theorizing, guys. I'm thinking out loud. Maybe some guy passed a law. But polygamy is needed in times of war. Believe me, people will remind themselves why polygamy exists. All right, guys. Salam, coach. Any advice on what strategies to do against a bigger wrestler that keeps his hips ultra low while playing bottom half? What? Salam, coach. Any advice on a strategy to do against a bigger wrestler that keeps his hips ultra low while playing bottom half? Well, bottom half, your hips are on the ground. I don't know how much lower they can get. Also, any strategy book reads you recommend for BJJ? I don't understand what you mean. His hips are ultra low while he's in bottom half guard? I don't understand. Oh, you mean you're... Sorry, man. Guys, I get hit in the head for a living. My apologies, okay? You're in bottom half. The guy keeps his hips ultra low. It's very hard for me to describe, but what I do is I kind of turn upside down, drive my knee in their chest, and push them with my knee. Like I get upside down. It's really hard to describe. Very, very hard to describe. I'm sorry to say. But there are techniques against that, absolutely. Basically, I get upside down, drive my knee, and I go into K-guard. And if he pushes back, I throw him over the top. What are your thoughts on polygamy? We did this. $499. Is that dollars? Is this KJ and Iya? $499. Is that possibly dollars? Oh my God. If you put $499, man, I don't know what to say. But thank you. I mean, that's an insane amount of money. What's your favorite boxing combo, please? Thanks. KJ and Iya. I would say jab, jab, cross. Jab, jab, cross. Jab, jab, cross. My favorite. Absolutely the most important combination in the history of boxing. Latino del Futuro Rodriguez. Wow, what a name. That's a t-shirt. Latino del Futuro. Coach, 47 years old. 1 year BJJ wrestling under my belt. I weigh 177. Bigger, younger guys at my gym, 250 to 270. Should I be more selective with my live rounds or go with anyone, no matter the size? Well, at 1 year of training, no, I would say be very selective. Yeah. Don't just go with anybody because you can get injured. You're 47 years old. Tell the guys, hey, guys, either we flow roll, you're too big, or I find someone else. If they don't want to flow roll, no problem. Guys, everybody has needs, okay? You got to go in the gym, talk to the instructor. I'm not going to roll with the bigger guys. I'm 47. I don't want to pop my ACL. I don't want to pop my neck. I'm here to learn. As you get more mature and more skilled, you can handle bigger guys, okay? But a 250-pound man is a very tall order for anybody, even a seasoned black belt. Hi, Coach. If you had to choose between Waco kickboxing base, example MVP, or a Muay Thai base, example Sylvia for MMA, which one? Also, did you see MVP's last fight? That's from Judge. I heard about MVP's last fight. I didn't watch it. I'm eventually going to get around to it. I would rather have a Muay Thai style base, Muay Thai and boxing mixed together. That's my favorite style. And then I would add karate. MVP comes from a karate background, actually, not a Waco. I know he did Waco kickboxing and all that, but he's a karate background. Don't forget, very karate. So I would add karate. My ultimate style, guys, is Muay Thai, boxing, and karate. That would be my ultimate style. Hassan, thank you. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Hey, Coach, started Muay Thai training 6 days a week for 2 hours. I'm a former D1 track athlete. When should we be a reasonable time to take a fight? You started training 6 days a week, 2 hours. I would say, look, it depends. If you're talking about amateur level, like do you have an amateur circuit? Go to a show, watch, check out the level. Spar with one of the guys who is competing. Don't just go in there blind. Like find the guy who's competing amateur. I'm assuming you're talking amateur. Go and spar with them. Find what gym they're at. Go spar with them. See how you stack up and how did the guy do. Use common sense. Don't just jump into a fight. But I would recommend, training at least 6 months before you take your first amateur fight. If you're training 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, at least 6 months. I'm Genghis Khan. That's from Marwan Shamsia. Genghis Khan. That's how we say it in French. In Arabic. Genghis Khan, not Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan. Coach, will dieting book include Ramadan guide? That's from Zain Nakvi. No, I didn't, because I made the book a little too long. I had to trim down. I like straight and concise, guys. I had the editors read it and they were like, this is what they told me. Listen to what they told me. They're like, and I understand this advice. There's like, you got to put an anecdote. You got to talk about how, you started the whole, like, you got to put more spiel, more story. I was like, I thought about it. I was like, guys, do you really want to hear that? I'm going to release the book. If people criticize me for that, because I didn't put any anecdotes, the way I did it was like, I talk about finding your why. Like, you got to find, if you're going to stick to a diet for life, you got to find why you're doing it. And I talk about my why, and it's short and concise. It's not like a romance novel. And then I talk about exactly how to go about it. Like, I show you how to eat. I even show you what I eat every day and how it works and how different ways to do it. Intermittent fasting. And how you have to carb up and why these carbs are so important. And what happens if you don't carb up? Then it's got to be this type of workout. I go into like the strategies. I go really into it. It's almost like a reference guide. It's an easy read. That's what I want. I want straight to the point, because again, I've read countless books. I love the books who punch me in the gut with information. They didn't leave a gem here and there and I had to dig for it and it took me out. I hate books like that. I hate books I have to dissect. Now, there are some books you have to dissect and they're really great and there's a reason for it and it makes sense, but not a nutrition book for athletes. A nutrition book for athletes should be straight to the point. How do you get this done? How do you go from this weight to that weight? So it was more of this chapter talks about this chapter talks about that. Here's the common problems that people have. Here's how you resolve them. And it's kind of like every chapter is a punch in the gut. And that's how I write. That's how I teach, guys. That's how I teach jiu-jitsu. I have and I train George Shapiro. George Shapiro has ADD. Like, he'll admit it. Like, he cannot pay attention if you talk to him for 5 minutes, you better be dropping gems. You have 10 seconds to drop a gem or else he's going to change the channel. Like, it's just the way he is. Now, he's blessed with ADD because when he drills something that he finds fascinating, he gets obsessed with drilling it. So it was a blessing and a curse in a way for him. Okay. He's found a lot of success. He used what would hold somebody back to his advantage. Why? Because when you have ADD, like, you're hyper focused. Like, if you show George a gem of a move, like, he'll get upset, like, wow, I'm going to drill this every day for a month. And he's fixated on it, but he can't think of anything else. So he found a way to make himself successful. However, if you talk to him about something and there's like, you don't get straight to the point, like, he's completely, you're not gonna have a long conversation with him. I think a good teacher boils things down to the core. Here are the 3 core major things that make this move work. As you get more advanced, it gives you another, like, you have to ask yourself, what's the most important 3 things? Boil it down. It's a rule of thirds, okay? Like, try to boil it down to 3 things, because 3 things is really easy for somebody to remember. Now, it's not always easy. Start with the first 3 most important things. Then after, show the move again and add another 3, because they mastered the first. And work in group of 3s and ask yourself, okay, I want to say this, I want to say that, and I also want to say this other thing, and I also want to say this. Wait a second. You're the man in control. What are the 3 most important? You have to cut one, and it's hard to cut, but you got to do it. Why? It produces better results. Coach, see my super chat. That's from Judge. I did that one, I believe. Guys, there was a button I saw earlier. Let me see. Where it collects your top chats. What? Oh, no. What did I just do? Damn it. 499. What is it? Like, it's not dollars, Coach. Sending through Philippines pesos. KJ, okay. I thought you were a madman. Sending me $499. Last questions. Are there any exercises to increase squeeze power and endurance for the arm triangle or rear naked choke? Try farmer's carry, KG. Do a farmer's carry. Grab 2 heavy dumbbells or 2 heavy kettlebells. Walk around, and when you can't hold them no more, put them down on the ground and put yourself like a 10-minute clock. And when you put them down on the ground, you got to be doing abs, pull-ups, shoulder rolls, whatever. And then you pick them back up again, okay? Because this is a very, very good way to develop a very, very strong squeeze in your hand, okay? Super, super effective for developing squeeze. New member, Matthew Silva, a gentleman and a scholar, has joined the group. Hey, Coach, Ramadan is coming soon. Iftar for me is 6 p.m., but my boxing and MMA class starts at 6 as well. What should I do so I can train during Ramadan? That's from Judge. Guys, Ramadan, for those of you who don't know, Muslims, we don't eat from sunrise to sunset. Okay, it's actually a little bit before sunrise, but you guys get the point. No water, no food until the sun goes down. Now, the summer months have finally passed us by because Ramadan's like a little bit earlier every year. Thank God it's not a summer month this year. So we're going slowly towards the spring and then to the winter, and the winter months are much easier. The sun sets much earlier. I'm so grateful for that. Yes, the sun is going to set around 6 p.m., 6:25 where I am, 6 p.m. where our friend is. What do you do for training? I'll tell you something. Have a drink. Have carbs in your drink, maybe waxy maize. That's what I'm planning to do. I'm planning to train this Ramadan. I'm going to take a drink. I'm going to maybe have a date. And then I'm going to roll. I'm going to wrestle. It's not going to be easy. I'm going to train, regular schedule. And then at night, I'm going to have my meal. My meal is going to be a calculated meal, maybe 2,000 calorie meal. And depending on how hard I train, and that's how I go about it. I'm still doing my fasting, of course, but I'm going to be breaking my fast at the gym with a shake. Okay, I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to go about it, but it's probably going to have electrolytes in it, obviously water, and some nutrients. Lots of carbs, of course, because I'm going to be training. That's my game plan for this year, guys. That's what I recommend to everybody. What else we got here? Holy moly, guys. Ease up on the new member. Okay, here we go. All right. How do I see all the new member, Mr. Silva? Okay, here we go. Oh, man. How the hell do I see all the super chats? Super stickers, super chat. No, I don't want to send myself a super chat. Okay, let's see here. I injured my groin lifting. How do I heal quick? That's from Huzi. That's a tough injury, guys. Groin injuries, tough. Very tough. I recommend going into the pool. Going into the pool, there's lots of exercises you can do in the pool, because the pool, you're not putting a load on your legs. Get those weights. You can get them on Amazon. You put them on your ankle and you move your leg around in the pool. It's a very, very good way, because the groin muscle is a very, very stubborn muscle. The other way I would do it, if you can't get to a pool, use a stability ball. But don't use weights. Don't use too much weights. The groin muscle is a very, very unique injury. Man, I saw a super chat. It popped. It disappeared. Muhammad Wada, $9.99. Muhammad Wada, let me tell you something. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Coach, how do you make a living with a philosophy degree? That's from Michael Casas. Let me tell you, Michael, you sit around having deep thoughts about being broke. That's what they used to tell me. Oh, don't go into philosophy. You're going to sit around having deep thoughts about being broke. Skip ads, guys. They just send me a prompt about ads. I just skipped it, so you guys don't get an ad. Yeah, no, look, philosophy will teach you how to think analytically. If you think analytically, you could resolve problems, okay? If you resolve problems, you can make a difference in the world. You can earn a living. I don't recommend it for everybody. If you have a calling if you study logic, guys, I hate the word philosophy. I'm starting to hate it more and more. I think it's really reason. We should call it reason, because philosophy. I asked that person recently, what's philosophy? He's like, I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, because he kept telling me about. I'm like, what do you think it is? And he's like, the glass is half full. He told me. I was like laughing. We were laughing about it. I was like, no, that's nothing to do with philosophy. Philosophy is the study of formal logic. When we say modern day, when we say philosophy, we're talking about formal logic. If you study logic, you could become a logical person. If you're a logical person, logic, my friend, is a very powerful tool. You can think rationally and go about solving problems and finding solutions. Now, I would tell you guys, if you don't read a philosophy book and you're not totally in love with it, just do it on the side. Don't get immersed, because philosophy is tough, guys. Logic classes can be boring. It's not easy. I'm telling you, it's not easy. Sometimes it's just like, I want to shoot the guy who wrote this book. You have to have a calling for it. Yeah, you have to have a desire. You have to have a really you got to really like it. Muhammad Wadad, 2 super chats. My God. Double scholar. I never took philosophy, but I still learned to be wise on my own. That's from 322X. Whoa. That's very good, I guess. Coach, why do you not curse or swear? Because you try to sound more professional. That's from Abdullah. No, I try to set a good example. Look, my kids watch this video sometimes. And, I'm in front of people. I would like to show a good side. I like to be try to be a good role model. I think it's very important. Okay, now, I'm in the gym all day. Guys, you know how guys are in the gym. I don't know if you've trained in a gym, okay? I understand. That's more of a different environment. When men are together, a group of men, it's just weird. We become Lord of the Flies. It's a weird thing. It's a weird dynamic. I spend 8 hours a day surrounded by martial artists, fighters, very, very tough people. So it's kind of like, it's a different world. It's a different mentality. But when I come home, it's really like, it's very important to be a good role model for my kids. It's very important for me. Paralysis by analysis is real. That's from Mr. Hyde. This is true. Yahya asks, how does free will fit into the deterministic world? Guys, I'm not going to do that one today. I'm going to grandfather that one for a little bit because we've done it many times. Coach, what do you think about Usman Nurmagomedov, Bellator lightweight champion? That's from Luthfan Togar. I've been in the same practice room with him. I never trained with him physically, but he's an impressive guy. He's a very impressive guy. He's a great athlete. He's tall. I saw his fight with Benson. Head kick. I mean, he's tough, man. He's really, really tough. Very talented guy. Super exciting fighter. Do you trust the mainstream news media? That's from Nabil. Nabil, I'm scared of getting another strike. So I wish I could put a piece of scotch tape around my mouth. I remember once I said on this channel years ago, I said I don't believe in conspiracy theories that much. I mean, so few of them ever turn out to be real. It's a possibility, but it's so rare. Man, did I eat my words. A lot of you, we live the conspiracy. I don't want to even say that word because I know YouTube monitors every single word you say. I've been warned. So I'm being more careful. And, yeah, that's my answer to you. I think you can read between the lines. Guys, Joe Rogan is more popular than legacy media. Explain that to me. A guy on a podcast, more people listen to him than they do legacy media. That's insane. I think it's because he's he seems down to earth, honest. He's just having a friendly chat. He tries not to BS people. Whenever you listen to the news, it's never neutral. They're always pushing the right wing or the left wing. It's always given to us with an incredible bias. If I was in the news, if I owned the news company, I'll be like, guys, we're gonna be neutral. I'd want to change the flavor. You can't, man. I can't believe I used to listen to TYT. What do they call it? Young Turks? What do they call themselves? Guys, they're so biased, and I know everybody's biased. Matt Walsh, Squeaky Ben, they're all so biased. You can't listen to anybody now. They're never gonna give you an honest. That's why I think podcasting has become so popular. And we all have our biases, but they have an agenda. It's like they're pushing this message every day. They're beating you over the head. This message. These people are bad. These people are good. These people are bad. Look how horrible these people are. They're just constant friction. Pa, pa. It's insane. The news is become insane. I listen to both sides, but I can't stand Young Turks, guys. I don't care. Look, I'm neutral. I'm not left. I'm not right. But Young Turks are too biased. It's insane, man. Everything is biased. They're all biased. I mean, I don't listen to Ben Shapiro either, but they're so incredibly biased. It's every statement is loaded. In philosophy we have a loaded question bias. It's like they're constantly pushing everything they say is structured in a way to make you think in a certain way. They just can't give you the fact. You're a news anchor. Just shut up and tell us the news. Give us the facts. Give us what happened. It's always an opinion piece. I get it. Opinion pieces are okay too. But it's always an opinion piece. That's the thing. They're trying to tell you what your opinion is all the time. And what happens, I find it divides countries. It really divides the country. I find as I get older, I'm seeing the U.S. getting more and more divided. Far more. In Canada, guys, our news is not like that. When I watch American news, it's a freaking bloodbath. It's crazy. But I'm going to keep my nose out of you guys' business. May you please scroll up to my previous question? Of course, Mr. Wada. You're a gentleman and scholar. Of course, I must scroll up. Hold on, Mr. Wada. $9.99. You skip my chat. Oh my God, how many did I miss? Every time I answer a question, 3, 4 pop up. Man, did I miss a super chat? Guys, I am scrolling up looking for lost super chats. I don't know where the hell. I wish YouTube would just put them up and leave them there. Guys, my apologies. They are no more. My apologies. You missed my super chat. I apologize, guys. I don't have them anymore. My apologies. Coach, you skipped my chat. Denzel, put it in regular chat and I'll answer it. Isn't 24-hour fast for the Arctic ridiculous, Coach? That's from Marwan. Well, you're not obliged to do a 24-hour fast. If you guys don't know, the sun doesn't rise and set in the Arctic certain part of the year. No, you're not obliged to fast, obviously. Okay, what's next here? Coach, missed my super chat. My apologies. Can you please scroll up? I'm sorry, guys. I did scroll up all the way, and there are no there. All right, here we go. Bilal B. As a Muslim, how do you intellectualize some of the supernatural aspects of Islam, i.e. the Prophet flying a horse? Is it as simple as faith? That's from Bilal. Okay, guys, there's no flying horse in Islam. Like, there's Barak, the horse, yes, but then the ascension, there's no. It's a common myth. Look it up, okay? There's no flying horse in all of Islam. There's no winged horse. It doesn't exist. People constantly say that. It's not true, okay? Now, guys, I'm not going to get too deep on this, okay, because this is an MMA channel, but in the Quran, it doesn't ask you to believe. No, we believe it. We take it upon authority. But this miracle was for him. It's a personal miracle for him. We hear about it, and there's lots to know about this. You have to do a deep dive. I'm not going to do a deep dive now, okay, because it's really off topic. But there are supernatural events. This is actually very interesting, okay? We should talk about this, because I can relate it to epistemology and philosophy, okay? Very much so. You see, Islam, yes, it has miracles, but it's not based on miracles. Here's the thing, okay? Imagine, listen carefully here, okay? Listen carefully. Imagine I had a pot, okay? And I have 2 chambers in my pot. The first chamber has one liquid. The second chamber has another. When I pour the pot, the first liquid is water. As I pour the water out completely and I run out of water, the second chamber has a funnel, and it starts to, the funnel, don't forget, has 2 chambers. Once you empty the water, all of a sudden the wine comes out. You have a double loaded pot. The top is water, the bottom is wine. You turn water into wine. See, every miracle you give, somebody tomorrow is going to say, oh, wait a second, it could have been this. And believe me, skeptics do it. Every Jesus miracle, alayhi salam, is all, people give 101 theories. Oh, walking on water, he was skipping stones. Oh, it was a mirage, because, you know, when you have a lot of heat, there's like a mirage. It looks like water. And if a guy's walking at a distance, people are they're gonna take it he was walking on water, and then they're gonna exaggerate it. Oh, he told the seas to be quiet. Well, you know what? In the Sea of Galilee, you can't have much of a storm anyway. They're gonna rationalize every single miracle, because a miracle, you have to be there to witness it. Look, that's why the Christianity and Islam are very similar, but they're also very different. Okay, now think of this as a historian. Okay, Christianity, look, we believe Jesus because of these miracles. Islam is not like that. It's not the attitude of Islam. The attitude of Islam is very different. The attitude is like, look, miracles happened. It was for the people of the past. You're taking it upon authority. The miracles of the past, you weren't there to see it. It's not. That's not what's the basis of Islam. Islam is about having an inner connection with your natural religion. We talked about it many times. It has to do with the fitrah. We can actually touch upon that and have an actual first-hand experience of it. We can, absolutely. It won't be that difficult. Ask me about it later and we'll jump to that. Islam's position is, yes, there are miracles. It made people believe, but the people of today, you only have the Quran. That's your miracle. The Quran tells you to think, and you're supposed to have a deep thought, and you're supposed to come to rationalizing, to reasonably believing God exists. Now, the Quran gives you rational arguments. How much proof does a person need? He climbs up. Okay, this truth is satisfactory. I'll give you a common argument for God. Everything in the universe has a cause. The universe is a thing. Therefore, the universe has a cause. Okay, guys, now I'm not going to make it perfect. I can go deeper on this, the cosmological argument. I can go very deep. I'm just giving it to you in a nutshell. Premise 1, everything in the universe has a cause. Premise 2, the universe is a thing. Therefore, the universe has a cause. That means something created the universe. And we springboard from there. Now, some people need this much proof, and some people want this much proof, and some people want not evidence, they want actual 100% proof. I'm one of those type of guys. And I believe Islam's whole philosophy is, look, how much proof do you want? We can take you all the way to 100% proof. But if you're satisfied here, stay here. If you want more proof, keep going. Keep going. And you can go as far as you want. In Christianity, it's really based on the miracles, because when we have discussions with Christians, and I've met super intelligent Christians, super intelligent, and I asked them, why do you believe this man died and resurrected? Is it an appeal to authority, meaning this person said it, he was a witness, you believe he was a witness, or he knew witnesses, and therefore you take his word for it? Is that it? And they will tell you yes. Islam, it's not the case. Islam's a very different religion in that sense. Islam, yes, we take the word, we trust them that they said those things happened, and we believe them. But that's not the core. That's not the core of the religion. The core of the religion is the fitrah. You're born in an innate religion, you have an innate belief in God, you were born with the idea of God. The Quran actually demonstrates it beautifully. Muslims read it, they don't understand what it says. And then, okay, you're born, you have this natural religion, just trust in that. Don't worry about what this preacher man says over there. Don't worry about that guy who wrote a book 10,000 years ago. Don't worry about this guy who connected these two dots. At the end of the day, you're certain because you have this core belief in the fitrah. That's the core of your religion. You can't miss. These other things, yeah, we were told and we trust these people. The chain of transmission was solid. Guys, don't get me talking about chain of transmission. It's a very complex subject, but it's super solid. We trust. Yes, we have a level of trust, but also we have a proof. The core is proof, not trust. The core is proof. This is very crucial, very different. And this is not me speaking for Christianity, because when I ask a question about Buddhism, Zen, Judaism, Christianity, atheism, I go to the top expert I can reach and I ask him. I don't go and tell them. I ask them, why do you come to this conclusion? And they tell me, look, we take it ultimately. Because don't forget, philosophers, we want to know how you came to your belief. We call it epistemology, okay? Why did you reason? And they admit, they tell you proudly. They're not ashamed of it. We believe that this was witnessed and it happened at a time in history. It's a very different approach. Actually, the Quran criticizes this belief. The Quran says people who think they know what happened in the past, they don't know. They're just guessing. It's too complicated for any human being to figure out. You'll never know. Only God knows. That's the attitude of the Quran. So they're telling you, look, don't go and try to dig up the past and figure it out. Find the fitrah. Discover the fitrah, and then you won't have any doubts. This is the attitude of the Quran. It's a very, very different attitude. It's a very different text, even though Christianity, Islam, and Judaism have so much in common. They have so much in common. But if you're an expert in Abrahamic religions, you could tell there are also glaring differences. For us, his brother has a school in Burlington. That's from Sean Skywalks. Yes. Shout out to my brother, Burlington BJJ, Mr. Zahabi, Alex Zahabi, teaches in Burlington. BJJ. Greetings from my favorite place, Australia. Who in their prime would have come closer to beat Khabib, Ferguson, GSP, or Islam Makhachev? That's from Max Leisure. I don't think Ferguson would have done so well, to be honest with you. As we saw more and more Ferguson, I think Khabib would have got him down on the ground. It would have been punishment. George for sure would have done the best, without a doubt. Coach, currently I'm 5'7", 145 pounds. What is the most important wrestling? Everyone is taller than me, 6'4", heavier than me. Although I feel that I possess much more power. Salute. That's from Harsh Deep Singh. Salute to you, my friend. Listen, being short in wrestling is an advantage. Duck under, low singles, high crotch. You have an advantage of being short, so I don't see it as a disadvantage at all. Actually, a perfect wrestler would be very short and super stocky. The lower your hips are to the ground, the harder it is to get underneath you. You're 5'7", 145 pounds. What's the most important wrestling? I don't believe there's a most important wrestling maneuver. I think start with the basics: snap down, body lock, underhook, overhook, low single, single leg, double leg. These, I know I'm rattling off a lot of moves, but that's really basic. Start off with those and then slowly hit more and more unknown moves. But start really with the core. There's no one move that's going to work all the time. You got to set them all up. You got to use a synergy of moves to score on your opponent. When you describe the materialist reaction to counter arguments, i.e. throw their hands up in the air, okay, Mr. Muhammad Wada, you listen to this channel on a regular basis, is it because of epistemically relativism? Is that they don't argue but they can't describe? Okay, well, that was really hard for me to read. Hold on, let me blow it up here. Let me zoom in here. Hold on a second. When you describe the materialist reaction to counter arguments, I just zoomed in here, guys. Okay, I could see well now. Throw their hands in the air. Okay, because last time I was talking about, look, when we show materialists counter arguments to materialism, they just throw their hands in the air. We show them that their argument is circular. Philosophers do this all the time to materialists, all the time. And I said, look, they just throw their hands up in the air. They just don't care. They just like, whatever. Well, that's where we draw the line. He says, look, is it because of the epistemically relativism? No, I don't think it is. It's psychological. Listen, all they care about really is pragmatism. Guys, I'm going to give you guys a small, very short philosophy lesson, okay? Really short. There's 3 major theories on truth. What is truth? 1 is pragmatism. We don't care about this thing called truth. We just want to know it works. When I turn the key in my car, is it going to start? Is my car going to move? That's all I care about. For me, that's what's true. If it works, I believe it. Hey, if I think this rock here keeps away tigers, I carry it on me. I never been bit by a tiger. For me, it works. I'll keep it on. That's all I care about. That's pragmatism. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you guys get what I mean. They only care about pragmatism. Now, philosophers like me, we care about something called correspondence. If I believe something, it's because that thing is true out there in the world. Whether it's in my head or out there in the world, I want to know that it corresponds to something. Each one of my beliefs has to correspond to something, or I have to drop that belief. That's correspondence theory. Now, there's another school of thought that's coherence theory. I don't want to get too complicated, but basically, if it's coherent, they accept it. If tomorrow something contradicts what we believe, we'll drop it. We'll reconcile the contradiction, or we'll drop it. That's coherence theory. They don't think they can actually get out in the world and figure out that there's actually something true out there like I do. Okay, I'm a correspondence theorist. I believe all 3 are very important. However, ultimately, I'm a correspondence theorist. Everything I believe in my mind, everything I believe has to correspond to something in the world. I don't think they care about correspondence so much, even though they talk about it. At the end of the day, pragmatism is what people really ultimately care about. There's no reason for them to go further because they're not really interested in what it corresponds to. They just know that it works. So they stop there. They park the car there, and that's it. Law of causality applies within the universe, not to the universe. Okay, that's from Dante Mundos. Okay, guys, Dante Mundos is saying this. Okay, I'm gonna give you a class. He's just said a classic rebuttal to what I said earlier, and he's completely wrong. And let me explain what he said, and then I'm gonna give him a refutation. Okay, and all due respect, my dear friend, but you're totally wrong. Okay, let me explain why. Let's say I'm putting together a set of odd numbers. 1, 7, 11, 101. I'm making this bag of odd numbers. All the numbers in this bag, odd. Every time you look at a number that I chose, odd, 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 odd. Now, this is what we call the composition fallacy. Just because all the numbers in the set is odd, doesn't mean if you counted how many numbers there is in the set, that's going to be an odd number. So one particular doesn't speak for the whole. I'll give you another, for instance, okay? Let's say I build a house with rectangular bricks. Can I say that the house must be rectangular? If each brick that builds the house is rectangular, that means the whole house must be rectangular. That would be a fallacy, of course. The fallacy of composition. Just because it's composed of odd numbers, the set of numbers, doesn't mean that if you counted how many I threw in the bag, that's going to be an odd number. That doesn't prove anything. He's completely right about that. Well, he doesn't understand. That's why earlier when I said everything in the universe has everything in the universe has a cause. The universe is a thing, therefore the universe has a cause. He's saying, look, just because everything in the universe has a cause doesn't mean the whole thing has a cause. He's correct. That's why I gave that little asterisk. I said, look, guys, I'm not going to go deep in cosmological argument. Because here's the thing. You forget about the construction fallacy. If I tell you, look, my house is made of plastic Legos, and then I claim that house to be organic, you'd be like, wait a second, it's impossible. You cannot get an organic house from plastic materials. That would contradict the word organic. You cannot construct something with contingent elements and itself not be contingent. It's constructed of contingent elements. Okay, so I can rephrase the syllogism, make it a little more complicated, harder to understand, but it would satisfy his quota. Anything constructed of contingent elements is itself constructed. It is itself contingent. The universe is constructed by contingent elements. Therefore, the universe itself is contingent. There you go. You gave me a classic rebuttal that's completely false, and there's your answer. You can replay the video, listen to it again. But premise one is all things constructed by contingent elements is itself contingent. The universe is constructed by contingent elements. Therefore, the universe itself is contingent. All right, guys, more super chats. Somebody told me recently I get a lot of super chats on this channel, and it's true. I realize it's just bombarded with super chats. Professor, do you have any advice for beginning to build a team for your business and finding good people? I produce music and video. Thank you. That's from 7 Vision Studios. Look, I only like to work with people of good moral character. I know it kind of sound lame. I know it sounds lame, but if I see somebody treats people bad, if I see somebody like, he has like a attitude problem, I will talk to him once, twice. If he continues, I'll kick him out. I won't work with him. I have a high tolerance for people's behavior. Like I don't walk in the gym like, oh, you coughed, get out. No, it's not like that. Okay. But I don't like bad seeds. Guys who are gonna mistreat other people. I don't like it. I find in the end they cause more problems. In the end, when you kick them out, they'll come back with respect. I feel that's what keeps a team super happy and healthy. Like everybody shows respect. Everybody cares about one another. It's so important. But if you let one guy break all, sometimes I go to jiu-jitsu clubs and it's like this guy did 1,000,001 bad things. Guys, I've kicked out big names out of my gym because they didn't behave well. Like they were over the top. Like I'm very tolerant, but sometimes they do something of no return. Okay, I kick him out. Now, when you do that, when you put those guys out, the other guys realize, hey, no, it's not the place to come and act like a douche. But if you have a guy who comes in and acts stupid, guess what? It's gonna start a trigger effect. And the next guy's gonna act lewd, and then he's gonna be like, you know what? That guy acted lewd. There's 3 guys acting lewd in the gym. Now all of a sudden you have a gang war in your gym. Like any team has to have, principles. What are the principles of your team? How do you guys operate? What is the culture in your team? The culture is massive. Cultures make or break groups. Take my word on that. Assalamu alaikum. In 3 months at TriStar, enough to know if I'm UFC caliber or not. That's from Binod. Background, I'm Mao Zam, 23 from Kashmir, training since 2018, mostly by myself. Super athletic gyms here, not too on my level. Binod, yes, if you come to for 3 months at TriStar Gym, I can definitely tell you if you have a career in fighting. That absolutely no doubt about it. I hope you come stay at the TriStar Gym, the dorms. I'm gonna flash it up on your screen right now. Look, tsdorms@gmail.com. Book your dorm, guys. The dorms are fully open as usual now. Business is running as usual. Book your dorm. Send them an email. Tell them what kind of room you want. Tell them like how long you're gonna stay. They're gonna give you different offers. And yes, if you train with me for 3 months, we can definitely tell you. Me and my coaching staff will definitely give you an honest review of your potential. You have to be a good judge of character, and that's a skill. That's from 322. Yes, but you got to see does the person have good manners. Guys, I don't want to blow your mind, but a big part of life is having good manners. Okay, I'm not saying grovel on your knees and clean up the gym with a toothbrush, but no, show respect to people. Get along with people. Sometimes I have a guy in the gym, he gets into an argument with somebody. Then 2 weeks later, he's in an argument with another person. Then a month later, he's in a huge argument and I'm like, wait a second. I bring him in and I say, look, you're the common denominator. You're the guy who's creating waves here. What's going on? I try to resolve it in a short chat. If we can't resolve it, I tell him, look, your 3 strikes is coming. And if they don't resolve, I ask them not to come back. And usually people will self-correct. 99% of the time, people will self-correct. Coop Cooks. Coach, I sent you 2 super chats. I didn't get it, unfortunately. Okay, Coop, I'm waiting for you now. Type in your question. Coach, send your question right now. Put it in the text. Don't do any more super chats. Just give me that question right now. I'm waiting for you. Come on, Coop Cooks. Hit me with that hit me, not with a super chat, just a regular chat, and I will read it right now. I'm waiting for you. Coach, congrats on Kevin Lee re-signing with the UFC. That's from Hanimali. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm super happy for him. Coach, many MMA fighters think Leon head kick to Usman is lucky. Can Leon do it again in the 3rd fight? That's from Lufton. Let's find out this Saturday. I think Usman's going to win, but let's find out this Saturday. All right, we got Coop Cooks. We found him. Best way to improve MMA fight comprehension. I train boxing and BJJ. You know what? You got to watch a lot of these channels. Fight analysis, post-fight analysis. Watch my post-fight. We'll talk about what happened. That's how you raise your IQ. You kind of watch fights. You learn every fight tells us a story. Every fight has a lesson, a life lesson, man. It's crazy how much you learn from fighting. It's insane how much you could learn from fighting and martial arts. It's insane. Keep listening to these analyses and chats. Listen to other ones, of course, too. Like, just break it down, analyze it, break it down, analyze. Your mind will expand and you will grow in fight IQ. Did Kevin Lee talk with you before his conversion to Islam? That's from Zaf. Look, we've talked after. Like, I didn't know he was considering it that heavily. And I don't want to say, we had a personal conversation, so I'm going to keep it personal. But yeah, we've definitely talked about it. Coach, can you shoot a bow and arrow? That's from Andrew. Yes, but not very well. I'm very amateur, extremely amateur. But I do love it. I do absolutely love bow and arrow training. Like we had a bow and arrow for the kids. I spent more time playing with it than they did. Opinion on Creed 3, the movie. That's from Javid. I didn't watch it. Honestly, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch any Creed video, any Creed movie yet. I don't know. I'm in boxing all day. Do I really want to watch a boxing movie? God, no. Coach, where do you rank Jose Aldo in the GOAT list? Do you believe the new fans don't appreciate his prime era? That's from Abdul. I totally agree, guys. One overlooked and underrated champion is Jose Aldo. He fought too long, so the fans think he's just like an average top 10 guy. He's not. He's in my opinion, the greatest featherweight fighter ever. If you take away that one McGregor loss, there's no doubt in my mind he's the best featherweight ever. He just didn't have anybody to stop him from fighting when it was too late. Like his loss to McGregor really stained his legacy really badly. The whole build-up, the rematch, because, they were supposed to fight, then it fell through, and the hype bubble was even bigger. And then the way he lost, guys, it was just horrific. It was just such a... Oh, man. Now, we can't say McGregor's the greatest featherweight because he never defended the title, and I would still pick Jose over Max Holloway. Now, maybe Volk is the greatest featherweight of all time, but also his 2 first fights against Max were super, super controversial. He needs to do more, maybe. But Jose Aldo, in my mind, in his prime, was the best featherweight I have ever seen. It's just his career, the way it winded down was just not pretty. Excuse me, guys. Opinion on stem cell therapy for your fighters. That's from Javid. I've had fighters do it. I think it helped them, but I don't think it's a miracle cure. Some people take it as more than it is, in my opinion. I think it helps speed up recovery, but I don't think it's anything miraculous. Marwan says, Coach, famous rebuttal for the cosmological argument was, if everything has a cause creator, then who created the creator? Why does this stop applying there? Okay, well, I'll tell you why, Marwan. Okay, Marwan is saying this. Look, if everything has a cause, who caused God? Who created God? See, we have two categories in philosophy. Okay, we have necessary truth and contingent truths. A contingent truth is very different than a analytical truth or a necessary truth. Think about this, okay? Every triangle necessarily has 3 corners. That's what triangle means. It's true by definition. It's analytically true. If you explain to me what a triangle is, I would never have to go out to verify if triangles have 3 corners. All triangles, by definition, have 3 corners. However, if you tell me, hey, does Coach have an Apple phone? Well, you'd have to go out, and that's contingent. It may be that Coach has an Apple phone. Maybe Coach has a flip phone. Maybe he has a Samsung. Maybe he has a whatever, Google phone. That's contingent. Meaning you'd have to go out in the world and see it. Ask him. That's contingent. We're saying all contingent things have a cause. Not all things have a cause. No, I never said that. Listen to what I said. I said all contingent things have a cause. Actually, the definition of contingent is that it was created. It didn't always exist, because if it always existed, it is not contingent. Listen carefully. For something to be contingent, to be a maybe, it had to come to being. It had to, once upon a time, not exist. Because if it always existed, triangles have always had 3 corners. Always. And forever. That's the necessary truth. Now, God, if he was created, he wouldn't be a God. You understand? So God, by definition, was not created. It's amazing to me. I understand regular people make this argument, and they make a mistake, because if you go to any philosophy circles, nobody's going to say, hey, who created God? Nobody's going to ask you that. Nobody. No logician's going to say that. They're going to be like, oh, that's the necessary truth. He couldn't be caused, because if he was caused, he wouldn't be God. Okay? Richard Dawkins wrote a book, and one of his central arguments was that if God exists, well, who caused God? It's incredible to me. Like, I want to hit myself in the head sometimes. That the guy made millions, and people thought him to be rational and logical. When I hear him speak, all I hear is fallacy, fallacy, fallacy. I should do an analysis on a Richard Dawkins speech and show you guys all the fallacies he stumbles into. It's incredible. Like, as a trained thinker, you won't be impressed by him. It's a central argument in his book. Did somebody proofread this book? Did somebody review this material before he published it? And the worst thing is that he made money with it. Why? Because people don't know better. That's the truth. Okay, like, I hate to say it, but look, Everybody's good at something, but not everybody's studying logic professionally. Okay? Who created God is a bad argument. Because God, by definition, was not created. By definition. It's a very important This is simple, basic stuff. Very simple. How do you see Chimaev versus Kobe? Goes 5 rounds, 170. I don't think Chimaev is ever going to fight at 170 again. That's from Swish. Swish, I don't think that's ever going to happen. If it ever did happen, I think Kobe might be a very tall order because Kobe's very busy on the feet. Heavyweight John Jones versus Prime Cain Velasquez. Who wins and why? That's from Jerome. I pick John Jones. He's going to oblique kick him. He's going to he's going to outstrike Cain. Cain's tough, but as he closes the distance, John's going to carve him up with elbows in the clinch. He's not going to be able to pin John up against the fence. No way, man. No way. He's going to get mauled with knees, elbows, spinning stuff. He's going to get hurt. Guys, I think John Jones would beat Prime John Jones beat Prime Cain Velasquez at heavyweight. How would the existence of aliens affect religion? That's from Christopher Garcia. I don't think at all. Look, I believe that there could... I really believe they're aliens. I really believe it. Not in anywhere... I don't think we've ever really come across aliens. Highly unlikely. Maybe yes, maybe no. But God can create every single creature. And yeah, I believe God created way more than what we did. Than what we are. I believe in so many... Guys, I believe that our universe is this. This little thing. See this little thing on me? That's what we are. I believe there are things out there that would blow your mind. Actually, honestly, you want to know what I believe? I believe that if you got a glimpse of what exists, you would fall unconscious. I really believe that. The universe is so massively charged with things that would blow your mind. Okay, imagine this. Okay, I'll give you a Socratic limerick. Imagine I'm fishing in the sea. I'm out in the sea. And I catch a fish and I take it, I pick it up, and I put it in a vat of water, and then I take my bucket home and I take the fish out of the bucket, and the fish sees all this crazy stuff. It sees the car ride home. It sees it's in a house now. The kids poke at it. They play with it. They feed it. It's still alive. I want to eat fresh fish. I want to cut its head off. And maybe my daughter feels sorry for it. So she takes it to the river and she throws it in the river. No, she didn't want my dad to eat it. She felt guilty. She's like, oh no, he's so cute. And then that river makes him all the way back to the ocean. Somehow, some way it's connected back to the ocean. And then he goes back and he tells all his buddies everything he saw. And their little fish brains can't even compute. He's trying to explain to them the car. He's trying to explain to them language. He's trying to explain to them all these things that he saw. A little girl picked him up. They would think he's psychotic. Not only that, what he saw was not even a hair. I believe the human condition is like this. Our universe, what we call the multiverse, is nothing. It's this little speck that you can't see. That's what it is. As a matter of fact, I highly believe that if you were to witness what's out there, like in the far corners of the universe, and I know they calculate the known universe, I don't think they're even close. There's a famous Greek paradox. They say, okay, what if you went to the edge of the universe and you chucked a spear? Okay, this is more of a thought experiment, okay? Imagine you chuck a spear. You go to the edge I take you to the edge of the universe, and you chuck a spear. If it hits a wall, you're going to be like, what the heck? What's on the other side? Like, how come there's a wall? Like, what makes the wall up? How could there be a limit? But if the spear flies through an infinity, you're like, boy, how could it be infinity? Like, there's no right answer. It's more of a thought experiment than a paradox. But think about it. How could either answer be right? It seems like, okay, to create infinity, for that spear to keep going, I mean, something has to be, there's just something for it to go through. Let's not start talking about ether. People used to believe there was a medium called ether. Like, scientists and philosophers have said for thousands of years, for a spear to fly through space, there would have to be something to fly through. How could there be an infinite amount of something? I'm not saying I know the answer because we're not going to figure that one out today, but both possibilities don't seem possible. But it seems like there's a dichotomy here. There's only two. Me personally, I just don't think there is space. That's my personal answer. Salam Malim, Firas. Haven't been able to tune in for a while, but good to see you again. Who do you think wins between Gaethje and Fazayev? Sorry if you answered this already. That's from Muslims. I answered this already. I picked Fazayev. I think Fazayev's Muay Thai is more complete and he should win it. Coach, what should I read after the 5 dialogues of Plato? That's from Hamad Zaid. Read The Republic, guys. If you haven't read The Republic, read The Republic. It's very, very important. There's 40 books of Plato. Okay, so you're not. If you read 5 dialogues, it's not enough. Look, I really think people should read René Descartes, The Meditations on First Philosophy. It's super important. It's super important. And then when you go back to read Plato after that, look, I had a professor who drilled that book in my mind, The Meditations. Drilled it in my mind. He did me a huge favor. What if the spear disappears? Well, what does it disappear into? That's the whole question. Mustard seed. All day. Mustard seed. Why mustard seed? Are you referring to the mustard seed? Look, mustard seed means something very special. I wonder what you mean by mustard seed, because mustard seed could be something very, very unique. Would Islam beat Leon? That's from Beast Hide. I don't think so. He's too big. I think he wouldn't be able to hold him down, and Leon would get back to his feet and kind of pick and poke at him quite a bit. Coach, who's your favorite Enlightenment philosopher? Immanuel Kant, and believe it or not, I don't like him as a person, but Schopenhauer, I found him to be, he found something very special. Even though I wouldn't like him as a person. I never met the guy, obviously, but when I read his biography, I find him to be despicable. I find him to be a despicable human. However, he touched on something so deep, I can't even mention it. Like, I'd have to come up with a really good thought experiment, because if I mention it and I don't have a good thought experiment, I'm just going to botch it. But he figured out something so profound that I found him to be genius. Hassan Haytham. Salam, Coach. Did you get a chance to cross-examine Darkwater Hermit? I like his explanation of Eastern philosophy and critique Buddhism contrast with Christianity. I have him now in my feed. I listened to him a little bit. I must have stepped on the wrong video because I didn't feel him making too much sense. I'm going to keep trying, okay? Try me in a month or so, okay? Because I'm going to eventually listen to some more of his stuff. Guys, I'm also reading up on Zen now. Like, I'm interested in Eastern philosophy. I told you guys I would tackle it. I know very little still, but I am working on Eastern philosophies. Maybe it comes out the other edge of the universe. Well, explain that. How did it go from there to there? You know, some people do theorize that. They say, oh, the universe is a donut. Well, it's a donut in what? What's outside the donut? You understand the problem? Every time you tell me it comes back, well, what made it come back? You begs the question, what makes it come back? Islam's physique looks flat last fight. Bad cut? I would say probably because he had less time to rehydrate because it was in Australia. Anthony Levesque, my boy. What up, Coach? Is there a multiverse? Don't forget to get some rest. See you tomorrow. One of my favorite students, Anthony. Is there a multiverse? Look, you know how they came up with multiverse? Look this up, okay? Look this up, how they came up with it. They found 6 numbers. 6 numbers that are so, and I know there's a lot of debate about this. I'm not getting into the whole thing. 6 numbers that are so precise in the universe that they call it fine-tuning. You couldn't land on it. Like, it would be impossible. There was a big bang, a universe came to be, and these numbers landed exact. And we're talking about thousands of zeros. You take 1 0 out, the whole universe is not what it is today. So physicists are like, holy moly, look at these numbers. Guys, this is what I'm talking about right now is called fine-tuning. Look it up. There's a lot of debate, okay? There's 2 sides to the coin. I'm not going to flip the coin every which way because it's going to be too long. Okay, I'm going to give you guys in a nutshell experience. Explanation. They argue, look, these 6 numbers are so precise, man. It's like somebody fiddle with the knobs to get it just right. It can't be a fluke. So physicists are like, oh my God, now people are going to start believing in God. People are going to invoke God. Guys, this is the truth. Guys, that's what their fear was. They're like, how could it be? How could we relay this back in a way? How could we spin the narrative? And they said, wait a second. What if our universe is just one out of a gazillion? Nobody said we have to be limited to one universe. And universe actually means all of it. The whole verse, like we're gonna refer to it in one name. That's where if you go back to the actual word, it's trying to say all of existence, really. So now they took it to mean something else. Universe is just what we know here, our Big Bang, supposed Big Bang, okay? What they speculate to have happened in the past. But that Big Bang might have been one out of a gazillion. Like they say, the foam of the sea. Like every little bubble you see countless. That's just the universe. That could explain the 6 precise numbers. There's so many universes out there that this one so happened to land in the Goldilocks area. And they have no... Later on, they came up with other possibilities. But it's not observed, okay? The multiverse is not observed. We don't have a shred of evidence. And it's also we have to ask the question, what's generating all these multiverses? That's the thing. They can't get away from that one miraculous need we have for something necessary. Because, okay, there's something out there generating multiverses, and these multiverses are coming into existence. And one of them so happened to land in the perfect Goldilocks zone. What's generating these multiverses? They are also contingent. Contingent things, don't forget, were once generated. Somebody had to make this jar. Somebody had to make it. Guys, I got to drink this water because I won't be hydrated for tomorrow. The fact that it's contingent tells us that it was once made, created. It came into being. That's what contingent means. It has an explanation. There is imagine you're walking down the street and you see a cell phone on the floor. You pick up the cell phone, you're a philosopher. You realize it's contingent. How did this cell phone come to be? We look around at the universe, we're like, hey, the universe is contingent. How did it come to be? Now, guys like Dawkins, they refer to blind forces. They say, look, the whole existence comes down to blind forces. Philosophers like me, rationalists, we ask them, we call that the God of the gaps of the atheist. Like, for instance, once upon a time, like, how did rain happen? Oh, God did it, they say. That's why scientists say, oh, look, you're using the God of the gaps. When you can't explain something, you call onto the God of the gaps. You just say God did it. You fill in the gaps with God. But the scientist also does this. And I challenge anybody in the world, because I know a lot of you can be like, that doesn't make sense, coach. Maybe it's because you're unschooled. But I'm putting out an open challenge to anybody in the world who's a philosopher of science, who's going to come and tell me here that I'm wrong about what I'm about to say next. But I need you to be a trained philosopher of science or philosopher or have some kind of degree. Don't just be some Joe Blow on your keyboard, please. I talk about this on the Joe Rogan. Randomness has never been observed. Randomness is a projection of the mind. It's a byproduct of ignorance. We project it onto the world. Can't prove this beyond a shadow of a doubt. Laplace, one of the greatest physicists of all time, wrote about it. He wrote essays about it. He was adamant about it. It's not Coach Zahabi who made this up. I studied these gentlemen. Ghazali spoke about it. Aristotle mentioned it. Plato alluded to it, even though he didn't specifically mention it. Like, he didn't go into detail. But they were all, to some degree, and some were more than others, super aware that randomness does not exist. Even atheist David Hume admitted to this. Now, if you take away blind forces, what is there? Only a perfectly ordered universe. So look, I don't believe there exists an atheist in the world. If you give me an atheist, I will cross-examine him till I find something he believes that's metaphysical. It's a God of the gaps in his mind, and I refer to that as a God. You believe in a deity. You believe in some sort of deity. That's your deity. That's what you took God and you replaced it with this deity. Every human being believes in something that's a woo. Every human being. And by woo, I mean something that they haven't seen in the what we call physical. Okay? Because people say, oh, you guys believe in woo. You believe. If you call that woo, you have to call what you believe in woo. That's what I'm trying to tell you all. Is that if you're going to call what I believe woo, You're in the same boat, my friend. I dare anybody any atheist or any expert with a degree to challenge me on this. I will cross-examine you until the point where you realize you believe in something metaphysical, and that metaphysical thing is contingent. Dawkins, he believes that in the Blind Watchmaker, he explains that the watch was made by blind forces. Those blind forces, that's a metaphysical claim. That's how your brain is processing information. I can prove it to him. I can give him a few thought experiments. He'll have a panic attack. He'll start sweating. He'll start realizing he's wrong. Blind forces are figment of the human imagination. There are no blind forces in a determined universe. It's his own personal subjective interpretation. He's appealing to a force that does not exist. I'll give him very simple thought experiments. He'll be stuck. He won't know what to say. He's never explored this. He's going to have to throw his arms up in the air and not know what the answer is. He also appeals to something that is beyond observable sensory data. There's no escaping it, guys. There's no escaping it. The mind is... Look, here's the thing. I don't want to get too deep on this, but the one thing we're certain of is the mind, and the one thing science cannot detect is the mind. It's one of the most paradoxical things in history of thought. The one thing you could be certain of is the experience you're having in your mind right now. It's immediate. You don't need to be logical to know it. You don't have to be. You can't be scientific. You don't need a scientific experiment to figure it out. It's direct. You're experiencing it directly. But that's ironically is the one thing science and logic can't capture. Science and logic know nothing about the conscious mind. They know nothing. It's what literally they call it the hard problem of consciousness. They cannot even begin to explain it. What religion would allow aliens follow? Alien prophets, Christopher Garcia. Look, aliens might have their own religion. They might have their own fit. I don't know. My whole thing is, did God give them a test? Did God, I don't know that. I have no idea. But I believe that every intelligent matter was born with a fitra, meaning an innate religion. You cannot escape. In my opinion, you cannot escape religion, ultimately speaking. Now, I understand in the West especially, religion has a very bad name. And look, here's the thing. I don't blame a lot of critics of religion because religion has done a lot of bad things. Organized religion has done a lot of bad things and use religion for a lot of bad reasons. But that doesn't deter me. I look at religion without prejudice. I look at every worldview. If you tomorrow bring me a worldview, I'm not going to look at what people did with it. No. I'm going to look at it as objectively as I can. I want to study it. Look, now I'm studying Zen Buddhism. Okay, I'm learning about it. Do you think I'm going to go by what these representatives do? No. I want to look at it. I'm going to give it a blank slate. Let you convince me of this worldview. I want to look through your eyes. That's the whole point. I want to look through your eyes. Now, some very special thinkers I've studied over the past taught me that. This is one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned. To be able to look through another human being's eyes and to be inside their mind. It's very special. Like the works of William Delty really come to mind. He talks about how all human beings are made of the same inner stuff. And you can actually kind of transport yourself. If you're a developed thinker, you can learn, today we'd say put yourself in their shoes, but more than in their shoes, you could put yourself in their skin. So when you meet somebody, you're like, hey, I could see the world through their eyes. It's very special. Like it takes a very trained mind. I know a lot of people think, oh, I can do that. Yeah, it's really, no, you think you're doing it. You think you're doing it, but you're not really doing it. If you can do that, you can start to become very wise. You can start to see the world in different ways. Now, I find that it always boils down to this thing called the fitra. You just can't escape it. Everybody takes that thing and mixes it with something else. And eventually they get this byproduct, this kind of weird spaghetti monster. But the spaghetti monster, don't forget, everything. Look, Descartes made a challenge once. He's like, draw me something original. You can't. Everything you're going to draw, or everything you're ever going to think, it's all a composition of things you've experienced. Paint a face. That face is just a collage of all the faces you've ever seen. All the experiences you ever had. You made big ears. Well, you know what? You experienced The idea of big, you saw ears, you mix the two together. You cannot have an original idea in your mind. He's actually, nobody's ever been able to disprove him. We all agree with him. We all like, you know what, Descartes, you're right. There's never been an original idea. It's all mishmash. How did you come up with your idea of the fitra? That's why rationalists, in philosophy you have two groups. You have rationalists, two major groups, and empiricists. Rationalists, we believe you're born with innate ideas. Empiricists say no, you're not born with any innate ideas. Now psychology, the field of psychology, proves that rationalists are right. Every time they study newborn children, they prove that children are born with ideas. They prove it over and over again. Empiricists are like, oh yeah, well wait, we're going to wait for more research. They just don't want to admit that human beings are born with ideas. I have a lot of different thought experiments. I prove to empiricists all the time. I prove to them time and time again that we are born with ideas. And one of the ideas you're born with is God. You can't get away from it. Every human being is born with the idea of God. Now imagine this. Imagine I tell you, look, I want you to imagine in your mind a kopai. You're like, Coach, what's a kopai? Don't ask me. Just imagine it. You're like, I can't imagine. I don't even know what it is. I can't even have a conversation with you. That's how a blind man feels when you talk to him about the color red. He can't imagine red. He could tell you, okay, bicycle. He could tell you car, but he can't tell you red car. When you say red car, you lost him. He never had an experience of red. That's the whole point. When we talk about God, people never say, what do you mean by God? What is this? If you go to the most remote tribe, find the most remote people, sit them down, talk about God, they're going to be like, oh yeah, we know exactly what you're talking about. You talk about the Great Spirit. Yeah, the Great Spirit. Oh yeah, we believe in that too. But they're going to maybe believe in the Great Spirit as a crocodile because their environment is all crocodiles. Like Xenophanes, one of the great ancient Greek thinkers, he said, look, if human beings were horses and they had the rational faculties they have, they would think God is a horse. They would take the idea of God, the idea of horse. He believes, by the way, he found the fitra. He never heard of Abrahamic religions. He discovered the fitra. He's like, look, God is a one pure idea that don't mix it with anything else. This is a purity. He's a monotheist. He said, look, if human beings were animals, like they had the rational faculties, but their body was like a horse, they would say God is a horse. That's what he says. So now some people say man is a God, God is a man. They took their idea of God, their idea of man, and they mixed it together. And some say that's the most blasphemous thing you can do. Like the Torah is telling you, God is not a man, God is not a man, God is not a man. Don't worship any man. And then in the New Testament, they say, oh, God is a man, by the way. So Christians, very intelligent Christians, they say, look, it says God is not a man, but it doesn't say he won't become a man. This is the guys, I bring this up to them. I know very, very intelligent Christians, like super intelligent. And I asked them, look, you read the Torah? They're like, yeah, don't worship a man. What do you make of that? And they tell me, look, it says don't worship a man, but it doesn't say God won't become a man. So they're making it plausible. So I asked them, this is what my retort, and I say this with all due respect to my Christian friends and me. I never have like aggressive arguments with my Christian friends. Never. We have exchange of ideas. They don't believe in what I believe. I don't believe in what they believe. When I talk to atheists, it's never a confrontational. Like I see people debate on the internet. It's always like insults. It's always like fighting. Like those are guys who never fight. Like if you want to fight, let's get in the ring and fight. Let's not do it with words. That's kind of weak. You want to fight? You have a problem with me? Let's book a time and place. That's the world I'm in. You don't like me? I don't like you? Let's not have this battle of words. I find it so dumb. Have a rational discussion. It doesn't have to be confrontational. Yes, we have different worldviews. If I meet somebody, whatever worldview he is, I won't talk to him about it. But if he brings it up, he wants to have a discussion, I will. But it's not confrontational. It's not insulting. So anyways, what I tell my friends is, I said, look, okay, the Old Testament, man is not a God. It's rubber stamped. What does that mean, rubber stamped? The last book of Moses is called Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is like, hey, I'm going to retell you everything I told you just to sum it up. It's Deuteronomy. Like, this is like, I'm stamping it. Like, don't ever forget this. Like, I'm telling you this lesson over and over again, and Deuteronomy, and I'm telling you it a second time. Deuteronomy. Okay. So I tell my Christian friends, look, Deuteronomy is telling us don't go there. And also, could God come back as a golden calf? For those of you who don't know, the Jews, after promising God that they're going to only worship one God, they later on recant and start worshiping a golden calf. They say, well, yeah, he wouldn't come back as a God. Well, that's the whole point. That's how the Jews saw it when the early Christians were telling them, no, Jesus is God. They're like, wait a second, that's blasphemy. Our whole thing was to tie on around our heads the Shema, God is one and only, and tie it around our arms. And if we're told in the Old Testament, if anybody teaches you a God that your parents didn't know, that your fathers didn't worship, kill him. That's what you're supposed to do. If your brother comes to you tomorrow, or your sister, or your wife, they tell you, hey, let's worship this other God, you're supposed to kill them. Like, it's so forbidden. It's the most forbidden thing. Now, there's a lot more to it. The Christians will tell you, well, God is revealing himself slowly. He was always Jesus. And they're going to tell you, look, it was like a kind of like a progressive revelation. But how could you do that to a group that you made them promise? Like, imagine that. God tells you, look, I promise you, I make you promise never to worship a God, and a man, excuse me. Then I'm going to come back to you as a man. Like, what a punch in the gut. I feel like I asked them, like, don't you find that, oh, it's the test. It's a very difficult test. And, some people are going to fail, and that's the way it is. I find that, like, we shook hands. We promised. We made a forever promise. Forever. And then because I didn't go back on my promise, now you want me, now I'm, like, cast into a lake of fire. This is the controversy. This is the huge controversy. This is where the Abrahamic faith, we have these dialogues, and we're trying to make sense of these three different perspectives, but we all claim to follow Abraham. Bro, Islam does that. If someone leaves Islam, they're supposed to kill the guy that left. That's actually not true. That's not true. Okay, look, there are plenty of people that have left Islam and didn't get killed. Look, it's treason, the problem. Treason. Look, if you're living in a Muslim country and you don't want to be Muslim, you don't have to be. Just don't go and start a revolution. If you start a revolution, that's treason. Now, look, because in Islam, we cannot force you to be Muslim. Like, it's clear in the Quran. Like, there's no compulsion in religion. It's not true. The people who are punished in Islam, it was for treason. Like, I'll give you for instance, okay? I'm a dhimmi in Canada. What's a dhimmi? Like, I pay the tax to the Canada. If I tell Canada tomorrow, hey, Canada, you know what? I'm not paying that no more. I refuse. What are they going to do? They're going to throw me in jail. Back then, they didn't have jails. They're like, hey, this guy's starting a revolution. Stop him in his tracks. Because if we allow him to get away with it, the next day another guy's going to want to pay. And then another guy, and another guy. And you're going to start a revolution. And guess what? Revolutions start wars. Wars. People die. To say something, my friend over here, Fizzy, is saying something very, with all due respect, naive. Guys, history is just one bloodbath after another. A small group grows into a big group, and they turn into they want to take over power, and they fight. Guys, it's in the business world. It's in every sport, every community. The new guy comes on the scene, and he wants to take over the old guy, and then they fight for resources. It's the story of man. If you're in a Christian country and then you want to start a new religion, what do you think the Christians are going to do to you? Have you read Christian history? What do you think the Jews are going to do to you? What do you think the atheists are going to do to you? If tomorrow, Stalin, I tell Stalin, hey, Stalin, you're atheist? Okay, great. You know what? I want to start a revolution against you. You're going to go to the gulags in the next 30 seconds. Listen to me. There is no worldview in the history of mankind, with maybe the exception of Jainism, that didn't put treason at the top of the list of infractions. If tomorrow the U.S. you commit treason, what do you think they're going to do to you? Well, today we have modern jails. They're going to humiliate you. Yes, they're not going to martyr you, because now they realize that if we kill a guy, he gets more famous. They're going to throw you in a dark hole, and they're going to show everybody. They're going to make an example of you. Now, back in the day, they didn't have jails. They had little shitty they had little bad dungeons that's just to hold you for a while, but people can escape. That guy can start a revolution. They cut your neck, or even worse, they crucified you. Okay? Crucifixion in Roman times was only for people who were bandits or revolutionaries. Guys, every society punished treason. If you break off and you're starting a new group and you're voicing your opinion against the group of that time, whoever's in control, what do you think you're going to get? You're going to get the boot on your neck. You're going to get the boot on your neck. It's very normal. It works that way today in your most liberal societies. If tomorrow I rise up against the government, guess what's going to happen to me? They're going to ship me off. They're going to put me in the darkest hole. They're going to punish me. Because if they don't, tomorrow, guys will start a revolution and overtake the government. You have to pay the tax. You have to obey the law. We're not asking you nicely. We're telling you. Because if you don't, the hammer of the law is going to beat you over the head. That's the truth. To critique any civilization for doing that is absurd. It's naive. It's absurd. There's no civilization that did without it. There's not one. Name me one. Okay? I'm waiting. Somebody please, in the chat, throw me one civilization that didn't punish treason. Good argument. Thank you for letting me know, Coach. That's from Fezzi. Look, it's sad, but in the world, there's force. Okay, I hate to say it, guys. I'm forced. In this government, I'm forced. I have things I don't agree with, but I do it. Why? I have no choice. And I don't think they're wrong. I think they have to organize themselves in a way that protects their interest. And I'm Canadian. I have my, but some things I don't agree with. And I think, like some other people, like, you know, every group has fractions. Okay, but like, for instance, I don't think, you know, like, I don't want to mention that whole period we went through in the 2020s, but I didn't agree with that, the way they handled it. But what can I do about it? I have to follow the rules that they give me. But even though I didn't agree and I didn't think it made sense, and I think but what can we do? That's the law. I can't go against the law. I have to obey the law, even if I disagree with it. But the fact that I couldn't mention that I disagree with it, that's what I didn't like, because I felt it went against their principles. Because they say, look, we're like this, we're liberal and we're egalitarian. I'm like, okay, what's the rule to liberalism? Here are the rules. You can always speak against us if you want. Yeah, we want to hear it. When you're not happy, we want to hear it. Oh, okay, well, I'm not happy. Then they censor us. They censor us. They censor us. That I didn't like. I found that you didn't live up. At least tell me in the beginning. Say, look, you can criticize us to this amount, but not more. If you do, we're going to punish you. Then at least I know where I stand. But the fact they told me, no, it's carte blanche, criticizes us till the cows come home. That's what I didn't like about what happened in that situation. That's why I felt like, hey, wait a second. Because, you know, if I lived in China and they told me, hey, don't say a word about it, I wouldn't say a word about it. I'd be like, hey, either I leave China or I don't say a word about it. Or I fight the government. Okay, so I find it hypocritical to set up a worldview, say you live by this worldview, and then not live up to it. Spencer Heaps, yes, I did. Is treason morally justified? Is treason morally justified if you believe you're doing the right thing? Look, here's the thing. Every organization, look at Genghis Khan. We talked about Genghis Khan earlier. Look how they fell apart. Revolution. One group decided that the other group was wrong and started a revolution, and thousands of people died. What happened to Alexander the Great? As soon as he died, they started fighting with each other. What happens when they fight with each other? It results in wars. Wars result in death. It's ironic, but they're like saying, you see that guy starting a ruckus? Kill him. Why? If he starts a ruckus, it's going to destabilize the entire government. I'm a big believer in government. I think governments are good. You know, sometimes I talk with libertarians, and libertarians are like, no, we don't want government. I'm like, that's crazy. Because no civilization ever was formed without a government. Like, show me one. We started without governments, and then we have governments. Show me one nation in the past that was successful without a government. They don't exist. They were all small little villages you never heard of. They never made it. It's like, I would love to debate an anarchist on this. How could you even picture a civilization outdoing, an anarchist civilization outdoing an organized civilization? It's unlikely. Like, I know governments can be also trouble because they get too big. They get super inefficient. You want a small government that's efficient. Hard, tall order, not easy to do. However, it does exist. It has existed in the past. And let me tell you something. Countries are made or broken by governments. And I will tell you something. In the ancient world, there was no anarchist country that ever rose to the top. Never. Not once. Not to my knowledge. I've never heard about it. I would be shocked. I would fall off my chair if somebody could point one out to me. Please do. I would fall off my chair. I'm telling you, I'll be so shocked. You need to have a brain on your shoulders, and that brain is the government. Maybe we should abolish rising to the top. Guys, how many great revolutions is there? Every great nation was a revolution. Every great nation started. What's the USA? The USA told the crown, hey, we're not doing that no more. We're cutting ties with you. We're going to make our own nation. Every great nation started off as a little group of guys who said, no, we're not going to live this way. We're going to do it a different way. And they grew. Now, if the British Empire caught USA early, if they caught the defectors early and cut their heads off, I'm not saying they should have. Today, we'd be the great united British Empire. They couldn't stop the revolution. The revolution happened, and now the U.S. is flourishing. But tomorrow, if history is any guide, there's going to be a group that's going to rise. And they're already rising in certain, like people, young kids are going to school. They're coming out more and more communist. Look at all the great universities in the Americas. In America. It's shocking to me, and especially in Canada. Guys, in Canada, the young kids are coming out of university. They're very leftist. They're very leftist in their thinking. Very, very leftist. Okay, and I'm not going to criticize. I'm not saying it's good or bad. That's a topic for another day. I think there's good and bad in every politics. Okay, and every wing of government, every political worldview. But it's shocking to me how leftist they are. Like when I was going to university, yeah, they were leftist, but they weren't this leftist. Now they're really leftist, and they want to be vegan too. And I understand the compassion. It's nice, but I think it's very intense. The young Americans are more and more leaning towards leftism, and it's growing in number, and they're intensifying in commitment. They're becoming more socialist / communist. Guys, socialism is a step towards communism. That's what Marx wrote. Could tomorrow a revolution of commies rise up in the US of A and flip everything around? That's not for me to speculate on. I'll let you guys think about that. Capitalism to socialism to communism. That's Hamid. Yeah, it's very possible. Okay, guys, what time is it? Oh, my goodness, it's 1 a.m. Oh, my goodness. Okay, guys, I'm doing one last one. I always got to end it on a good one. I can't believe you guys are staying up this late. That's insane. It's one opinion matters, and if you disagree, you're canceled. That's not true, okay? And most people will, most societies tolerated a difference of opinion. Just don't commit treason. Don't go out there and start a group. Then they're going to come for your head. Missed the super chat. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, please, no more super chats, please. Because we are running out of time. Coach, what happened to Zabit? I loved watching him. Do you think he would have been one of the greats? Crazy seeing Muslim brothers so successful in MMA. That's from Abdul, mashallah alayh. Yeah, I think he would have been one of the greats, no doubt. He was incredibly talented, incredibly sophisticated. I believe he quit MMA to go into medical school. That's amazing, man. I hope he makes it as a doctor. That's incredible. Okay, guys, let's end it on a good one. Life. Thank you for the correction, Sensei. My great pleasure. Always happy to help. Okay. Which country do you want to visit in the future? That's in Asia, Middle East. There's so many. I would love to visit Singapore. I've heard so much about Singapore. Like I've seen pictures and videos of Singapore. It looks like a futuristic country. I heard like one of the most efficient countries in the world. Like I'm fascinated by the Singaporeans. And I heard they're all diverse people and they live in harmony. They have a strict law, but they're very, very diverse. They have all sorts of incredible laws. Like if a company cuts out any green space, they have to replace that green space. So you have buildings with like forests growing out. Like they had to maintain their green. Asians are incredibly intelligent. It's insane. They build incredible societies. I've always wanted to visit Singapore. Of course, every country has its charm. I love visiting countries from all over the world. Every country and every place. I get charmed when I visit a place and I look at their culture. I love it. I love culture. I love different ways people live their life. I like to get immersed. I like to get a taste. And Singapore is definitely a country. There was supposed to be UFC Singapore, and I was supposed to be there, but then they changed the location. But Singapore is far, man. I just hope to one day get to visit. But that's a long trip. Guys, please like, share, and comment as usual. It helps the stream grow. It helps me do more videos. I hope you guys had fun. I had a blast as usual. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode.